Salutations, everybody. It is Matty here today, and welcome to episode 302 of the H.A.M Radio Podcast.
And it's me, Karak with ACG.
And I'm Dustin with Last Stand Media and Handsome Phantom. What's up?
Hello. How are you both?
Excellent.
Pretty good.
Cool.
Can't complain. It's Friday.
Yeah.
Mild. I feel like I have a mild sinus headache, and I can tell. Before the show, we were talking about allergies and air filters and stuff. And it's like there's just like a little bit of pressure right here. So I took some ibuprofen, popping some pills for the podcast. So
yeah, I
over the counter ibuprofen.
I got my second shot today, so I was telling Karak, I need to make it the next 2 hours or so, and then that's it.
Promptly
good, right?
die.
Right after that, yeah, I can die. I just need to finish the show because that's the thing is I realized 2 days ago I was like, fuck, my second shot's on Friday. It's like we have had a really bad streak on the show. We're getting better, but of like someone missing at some point in time, just because we've been busy or with my 2.0 launch, like it's been this thing where my scheduling has been terrible, or I've bumped with my editor who then would destabilize the schedule. I was like, fuck, like I cannot be sick this week. Like afterwards, like I will fall apart throughout the weekend. But if I can just make it to about like Friday at 8 p.m., we're good. So fingers crossed for that. Otherwise, I'll start developing a fever mid-show and all of that stuff. Maybe a pretty bad headache.
If you pass out, I'd love to see a shot where Matty just falls backwards from his desk. Karak and I can take it. We've done it before. We can handle the show. We'll just
over the top of him dropping.
Right. We'll figure out how to call like 911 and be like, hey, we don't know the address of the studio or anything, but he needs help. We'll figure it out. Which, to be clear, we're joking, but obviously that doesn't happen with the vaccines. The vaccines are safe.
Yes.
We're just joking.
It's a joke. 5G, haha.
5G, Bill Gates, whatever.
Yep, selling out. Yeah. You've heard all the jokes before. I got a little Karak energy this episode. I have a big bottle. I have a very big bottle. So one thing I noticed during that Lockmore edit is that how many times Karak will just take the 2-liter and just sip it like a cup. And there's so
I don't
many
even have a cup. That is the cup.
That's what I'm saying. There's so many things, Karak. I'm reappreciating you again this last couple of weeks because I'm noticing the things you do that I've gotten so used to that people will come in brand new and be like, holy fuck, Karak just did that. I'm like, wow, that's like, I've done shit with him for so many years that's normal to me. So I'm just having this renaissance of Karak in my head right now.
Low-key Karak.
Dude, that edit, so last Saturday, Lockmort sent that to me because that was the first official edit that we're putting on our channel. I was fucking dying. I have watched that edit probably 40 times now, maybe.
He does the work.
I love it. I love those edits because no one is spared. Like everyone has to look. Well, this one, Karak, this one was particularly focused on you, but it had a great energy. I was curious because I never heard what you thought of it. Whether you were like, "This is dumb," "This is great," or
I didn't see it.
Oh, you didn't see it? Oh my god!
Wow,
live
watch
reaction.
Almost anything on the internet, dude. Like that stuff. I'm sure it's funny. I just don't see almost anything on the internet. Like Matty will have to remind me 10 times something's on, and I'll be like, all right, I'll go watch it.
Dude.
I'm sure it is.
No, I'm sure they're get a kick out of it. It just
those kind of things are funny. I don't find the humor other people like humor if it's slapstick or whatever. I'm just like, okay, cool, whatever.
No, because it's more so the shots he'll get of me at one point. Like you in the skit or the edit.
Did see one part where I said something like he's raising up and you were raising up your seat.
Oh, you're like he's up in the air. Yeah. That part's so good.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It was just like there are shots that I'll get where Karak's just talking on the show and I'm just looking at him. But when you take it out of context, I'm standing there. I look fucking pissed, and I'm just like,
"Oh yeah,
I look like I got a bad attitude." I was like, "Jesus."
Do you remember though? When you and I first started? There was a couple times where I asked you. Do you remember that?
I feel like I
right
told
when
you.
We started doing podcasts. 1 or 2 times where the look on your face is the same as mine, where I look like I want to punch somebody if I'm listening.
Yeah, dude.
Like that's just the way. Because I'll be all That doesn't mean I'm mad. That's actually, I'm like like I'm almost like focusing on you, and you have that tendency. And I remember when we first started, there was one time where I was saying something. I was like, dude, are you mad or whatever? And you're like, no, I was just like, I just had frown face. Like I was just like paying attention. When we pay attention, we look angry.
The amount of people I've met that I'm like, oh, they were pretty chill. And then I find out through another friend, they're like, yeah, they think you don't like them. What the fuck?
Yeah, they think you don't like them.
Yeah, what
God,
the fuck did I do?
Get used to that,
it was the way you looked at them. I was like, Jesus Christ, man. You can't catch a break.
I listened. Dude, I'm not lying. I've had a lot of people be like, man, it looked like Karak had fun or blah, blah, blah. Or, you know, they'll ask me a question about something. I'm like, I have no fucking clue what we're talking about. They'll be like, why? And I'll be like, I was thinking about blizzards and shit. But I mean, I was carrying on a conversation, but half of my brain is somewhere else. But then when I'm like, that's when somebody's like, man, he's going to kill Matty. And it's like, no, I'm actually like, I don't know. It's just weird. We're opposite, dude. Cause I think a lot of people resting bitch face for us, right? Like that's sort of, we have the concentrating bitch face when we're really listening intently. I have a tendency to squint too. I don't know why. I don't know where that ever came. Maybe a school thing, but I'll be like I look like I'm shooting laser beams.
And then I wonder why I have a headache after podcasts is because I probably tense up to listen so fucking hard. Like, It's just different when you're in person.
No,
with
I can definitely see that.
I don't know. It's just a whole different type of conversation. So
another thing, you and I, when we started, I remember there were times where you're like, "We'll just do audio," and I'm like, "Nah, man."
Yeah. I do remember that. Yeah.
And you were like, "Why?" And I'm like, "Because I gotta see you."
Yep.
Yeah, I have to see like the interactions, and is somebody ready to say something? Because that can be so easy to accidentally. And I do it already because I'm just loud and I talk a lot. So it's like I'm always having to go. Is somebody? Are they like doing the kid at school hand where they want to say something?
Yeah.
And without that video, it's hard.
Dude, I can't believe. Yeah, you and I used to do this show without fucking webcam. Like, that's wild to think
We did a couple without webcam, and because Lone couldn't do webcam.
Yeah.
Remember? Because at the time he was super secret spy man, and there were times where like for whatever reason we'd just be like, you know, I think Discord helped a lot. Once we got Discord wrapped up and it worked 10 times, 1,000, 1 million times better than all the other shit you and I had tried. Once we figured that out, we were just like, let's just fucking stick with this. Like that made video so much easier.
Yeah.
Just 10 times easier to do our work. Did we start the podcast?
Yes.
Oh, we did.
Yes.
We did. Hi, everybody.
What's up?
I forgot we did.
I believe. See, this is the worry with Shadow Play is I don't see the recording icon in the bottom right corner, but I know I hit it. And I know
mine goes away too.
And I'm like, I know it's.
Do you know what I do? Go into the folder.
Yeah, I'm gonna
go
fire
into the
it up
folder
right now.
and you'll see the temp file. Yeah.
Yeah.
I am recording though. I've got video as well, so we should be.
We are indeed recording. All right, we're safe. We're safe, gentlemen. 8 minutes was not wasted on that.
Perfect.
Okay, good.
But we did waste 8 minutes of the audience time. So for those who don't know, this is a gaming show. We like to cover the latest and greatest in gaming news. Each and every week we just sit down, relaxed, chat about hot topics in the industry. So typically we start the show with what we're playing first, and I'll get into the self-promo stuff for myself afterwards. Most of you watching this and listening are pretty keyed in on what I'm doing here. So we try to give you as much content up front first before I start to sell you things, you know, like the Patreon and all that shit. So, Dustin, Karak, what have you fine gentlemen been playing?
Karak, go ahead.
A little bit of Resident Evil. Another game that I did this during my podcast. I don't know if the NDA allows me to talk about, but it is coming out soon. Hard to guess. And then a lot of Dungeons and Dragons stuff, like pen and paper stuff. So the major video game I really can't say the name of. But I did download. Oh my god, it's I hate it. What's his name? Guy who did Konami.
Ooh.
Guy who did Metal Gear. That Kojima? Game on PC.
Death Stranding?
Cold. Backpacker. Yes.
Very forgettable.
I got 22 minutes into it. And turned it off.
There you go. Sounds about right.
I tried, people. I tried. And I will try again, and I will try again. That's my white whale. We talked about it in my podcast today. It's the white whale game. Where, like, at some point, I'm going to figure out a way to get through that.
I think mine's Uncharted. I can't fucking stand Uncharted. Yeah, I can't stand it. Like I know my opinions on Uncharted are not good because I like the first one a lot. A lot of people are like, that one sucks. I kind of like the feel.
That was pretty rough.
Not the feel, I should say.
Yeah,
it doesn't play well, but I like the vibe of the game a lot more. I think after that, it gets too like, and he's fucking shooting everyone down. It's like Jesus, what a fucking maniac.
It can be Nate the homicidal maniac.
Just cartwheels in,
kills a dude who's like paying for his wife's cancer treatment.
Yeah,
shit. You're like, dude, this guy's just killing everybody.
That's what I'm saying. I can't. Funny. So I want to. That's a series I want to get into. I already know how it ends with 4, but I want to because I feel they're gonna do another one, and I want to be a part of that. But and what sucks is like. For me, now I think my favorite series from Naughty Dog is Jak and Daxter. But it was The Last of Us. Then Part 2 came out, and I was like, that was less than good as far as I'm concerned. So it's back to Jak for me. But Dustin, Furballs, what are you playing?
Furballs? Whoa, I haven't heard that since like 9th grade.
Oh, really? See, I thought when I asked you that, you said you weren't called that. I was like, I think I should don that
I've heard everything. I mean... With the last name Furman, you know, there's been lots of Furryman, Firm sometimes.
I like that. That's pretty good.
A little firm, you know what I'm saying?
I like that. Dustin's firm.
Now, okay, I got to make a joke here, Matty, because I guess it's not a joke if I tell you that I'm going to make one. But right now on my Twitter, there's an ongoing conversation you guys have seen. And Matty, you've chimed in a little bit about people reviewing games, not playing them all the way, whatever.
Yep.
I'm getting accused of the fact that because I shared my thoughts on Returnal and I was disclosed that I had only played, I don't know, 3 or 4 hours, that's just semantics and I'm, giving thoughts on something I barely experienced. So just to be clear. Exactly.
I listened to the show actually because I was driving to get my vaccine. So I had like an hour in total. And so I was listening and the show wasn't labeled review and you didn't call it a review.
And Colin and I were both very upfront about how much of something we played. And I'm just like, you listen to the show for us. It's not like we're putting a score on it. Anyway, I'm sorry. I don't want to complain. It's just funny that this literally someone just came up and I'm like, you know what? How dare you? You know what? I am going to tell you guys about the games that I have not finished and they're not reviews. Here we go.
All right.
I finished Route B of Nier Replicant.
How did you like that?
It's great.
It's
so good.
I'm going to be curious what your thoughts are once you do Route C and D. You planning on doing those?
Well, dude, okay.
Because I feel like they could have squeezed all 3 of those routes together, but they didn't. It was kind of a time waster. Yeah.
No, I'm a little annoyed because it tells you straight up, okay, skip 15 to 30 seconds for an extremely minor spoiler about Nier. It's so minor though. I wouldn't be bothered by this. In order to get ending C, you have to get all the weapons in the next playthrough that's not even different.
Yep.
That sucks. So I am not looking forward to... Luckily though, you could probably blitz it in like what? Maybe
5
2 hours?
If you want to get all the weapons, I should say. If you haven't already. How many do you have? Do you know your percentage?
No. I have quite a few.
Yeah.
But either way, if you get all the weapons, then you just have to play through it again. You can skip all the cutscenes because nothing's different.
Yep.
It's a little
confusing why they did it that way. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm very conflicted because in a way, like, I'm not done with the game. This isn't my review, but I really feel like this is my favorite game that I've played so far this year in terms of story and themes and just a general atmosphere with the music. I'm just like, every time I sit down to play this game, I'm loving it more and more. That might take a bit of a turn now because of the this 3rd and 4th playthrough or whatever, but we'll see.
I will just give you one bit of advice, not to cut you off, but just so you know, for C and D, just where the game starts to end, like that last save point you can make.
Yep.
Before you do C and D, just make a separate save file in case you didn't know. I just wanted to, and if anyone's listening, they know now. Just do that and save yourself some time.
Right. Yeah, I've heard about this,
Okay,
so
good.
We'll leave it at that. But Nier Replicant, really enjoying it. It's hard to recommend to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I don't even know who to recommend this game to, because part of me feels like if you're not a fan of Automata, then you're going to start that. Like, if you've never played Automata, you're going to start this game, and the first 3 to 4 hours, you're going to be like, this kind of sucks. Other than a really good initial hook in the plot right at the beginning.
I love that intro. It's one of my favorites of all time, man. I love the snowy intro of that game.
So good.
Do you not agree, Karak, or are you just baffled?
Are we talking about the McDonald's entrance? The cookie?
It's
fighting
like,
over the world's last cookie?
It's
yes.
snowing. The music chimes in. You're fighting with a pipe. Nah, you don't like that?
Music part was good. The rest of it, nah, dude. And they're fucking boring ass enemies at the start. Well, those shades, what are they? Shades?
Yeah.
Embers?
Shades.
Frosty dudes, whatever the fuck their name. Yeah, fighting those guys, I was like, eh. Yeah, I wasn't a big fan of that, to be honest. I think it looked a little rough there, too.
Interesting.
Graphically. Like, something about that, I think it was just basic. It was like, here's a fucking parking lot. And then I did like, though, the fact that you both argue over the fucking... And then you argue over the book, and this chick... Yeah, I don't want to... But, I mean, obviously making all the worst decisions known to man into starting. Like, it was just... I don't know. It was just weird. I wanted that part to get over pretty quick.
Interesting.
Luckily, it only lasts, 5 minutes?
Yeah.
All it's there really to do is give you a little prelude and then your tutorial. So
right.
I like the first part, though. I actually liked the village. I thought that was it. I wish it was a little more saturated color-wise. Their color grading's fucked, but
it's weird.
I like the first spot. I like that everybody you talk to, voice acting's good. I thought that was great. Worst designed village in the universe. I have no clue who designs a village like that, but whoever it is should never ever be in charge of like working in construction.
Yeah.
It's just fucked up. Dude, when I first started playing, because you guys, I had played the Japanese version. I don't know if you guys have played that, but the Japanese version. And I don't remember. Fucking that's years ago. You
imported the copy many years ago, the replicant version?
Yeah.
Cool.
No, somebody else did. I played theirs, because they translated, because it was in Japanese. But what was funny about it is I'm playing this and I'm like, where the fuck is the town? And then just pretty quickly you go out of your place and you stop talking at the tower and you go into this town. And as I ran in, it's just one fucking aisle. You forget how old this game is.
Oh,
it's just one. You get to bigger places. Obviously, it doesn't take very long. But that first place reminds me of Dragon's Dogma. Both locations have shit towns at the starting. Dogma's town at the starting is just horrendous. And I feel like in some way, Replicant sort of mimics that.
I will say, at least with Replicant, you can say, or I should say, at least with Dragon's Dogma. No, what I was gonna say is with Dragon's Dogma, at least they have more than one house in their town, right? The only house that's in Replicant is your house. Everyone else must live on the streets or something.
Your house. I have no what's going on. And there's a water wheel connected to really nothing. Like I don't know. It's just all kinds of fucked up.
Like,
and then you can see some construction stuff. Yeah. So, but people. I mean, dude, I'm glad it got made, but I would agree. Those endings. That's masturbatory at that point. He was just wanking off into the ending jar. Like there should have been 2 endings, maybe.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Felt gratuitous.
Right.
This would be the best way of saying it.
Well, the thing that's confusing to me is that the second playthrough has a lot of meaning because it adds new perspective, new cutscenes, stuff like that. It makes what you're doing feel different in a big way. And that's all I'm going to say about it. So the inclusion of the third that isn't different at all in order to get the true ending is like Karak said, masturbatory. In the ending jar.
I typically never hear masturbatory. I hear masturbation. I don't hear masturbatory.
Masturbatory, right?
That's
you got to go for the soft ending,
or hard.
I like the battles. I like the bosses. Or hard. I liked all the stuff that was going on in there, but I do feel that it would have been awesome if they had like a director's ending and it was just all of the endings in one part. Because I actually feel like there was times where I'm like, bitch, you didn't need to separate those. This is, in fact, the first time you win it, I know that they're probably thinking we want to make sure it's a payoff, but it was almost more of a payoff than the original time.
Mm-hmm.
There's something a little bit backwards on that. Maybe it's because I was new to this with Automata. And maybe Automata was like, this is so new that I'm going to give it some leeway.
I'll say this. I think Automata thematically and just story delivery and structure-wise, I think it made more sense.
Story delivery-wise.
It made more sense to do the routes, especially because of the type of character you are. It just fit better. And so I feel like someone maybe stepped in after Yoko Taro wrote Automata and, made it make a lot more sense. Because in Automata, gotcha. I felt like I get why there are routes here. I get why we're repeating this. And it's not as much repetition. Of course, the second playthrough is the one that suffers the most in Automata. But in Replicant, it's like you're going to fucking despise the strongest part of this game by the time you're done playing it 3 times over. And it's like, shit.
Yeah.
And then if you want ending E, you play the beginning again, which is apparently the new content that is
new.
Yeah, pretty good from what I've heard. So, like Dustin said, it's a really tough recommendation to make just because I have a buddy who's friends with someone who doesn't like Persona or really JRPGs but loves Nier. And so I think that's a real strong sign of just what kind of audience this game brings is a very particular taste. Like almost it's flawed, but it's great because it's flawed. It's so weird.
I was thinking this last night, Matty. This is a hot take from the firm right here. Straight from the firm. I personally enjoy Nier Replicant more than Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Whoa. Okay. I think
on multiple levels.
They're equal in side quests, that's for goddamn sure. But
I'm not here's the thing though. I'm not saying it's a better game. Okay. Not saying that. I don't know. I need to finish it fully before I can say that. But I guess for me it's so much about story and characters and music. And Final Fantasy VII Remake has the music. It's kind of there with the characters, and the story is kind of there for me, but it's not anywhere close for me.
How would somebody argue that though? Because that's not even really an argument. Final Fantasy VII Remake doesn't even have a fucking jump button, and it's got aerial enemies. There's some horrible designs. There's some horrible, and when I brought it up, people got all over me, and they're like, "You don't need it." I'm like, "No, you absolutely do, because otherwise, you're forced, if you know what enemies are coming, to basically pick a particular party member."
Game,
I don't see how anybody could argue that Nier Replicant is, at least in combat wise, is worse, because it isn't, and it's got what you need to take the enemies that are delivered. Where the other game, it's got what you need, but it doesn't give you even normal things like jump. Like the lack of jump is stunning in that game. It almost felt like they did it because they were worried you weren't supposed to or something. I could not figure out why jump was missing.
Dude, the thing, Final Fantasy VII Remake, I really like that game.
And I like it.
I think it's fantastic. Like you said, the jump button, but also that game feels so stiff at times. You gotta go up.
Yeah.
You go up to one of those long things that you gotta push through, and it's like press the button, and then you move through, and then you have to you know what I mean? It just feels like everything. It's I don't know if it's an over animation of things, like a Red Dead Redemption 2 problem in a way, but some instances on the game feels like it takes.
It also had you fight the fucking one of the best bosses though when you're fighting the Baba Yaga, the chicken house, the house with the leg.
Oh yeah,
dude. One of my favorite bosses of all time. One of my favorite myths of all time. Like the Russian Baba Yaga is one of my favorite things. And fighting that, I don't know if that was in the first one, and I didn't know it was a fucking Baba Yaga in the actual game or what. But to see it actually in a battle, that was a fucking awesome bad guy. A lot of games can't brag and say you fight a house with fucking legs.
Yeah,
that's a pretty big brag. It also has the worst texture on a door though ever made. So
yes, that's right,
dude. I was sending people pics of that prior to the embargo. What in the fuck is happening to this one door? And I don't know why it bothered me so much. It was just that one single door, so nasty looking. Cottage cheese.
Right. The only other thing I wanted to comment on is that I finished my replay of Resident Evil 7.
Oh.
It was very good. I was surprised. I got through it in just under It's either just under 7 or just under 8 hours. It was shorter than I remember, but I also knew sort of what to do, even though it's been a while. I was
probably
slightly
shaved off an hour or so. It took me 9 when I did it the first time through. So
right. It's just it's a really, really good game.
Oh yeah.
Really good. Super solid. It's scary in the right ways. And I have to recommend it. It's on the PS Plus collection, so if you got a PS5, no excuse not to. And today, if you're on Maddie's Patreon, if you're listening on Friday, then the new Resident Evil is out. I have not played it. It is sitting in my PS5 right now. So
yeah, I have my box copy sitting in my bag directly behind me because I bought it and then came straight here. So looking forward to playing that soon because I am not going to go into Nier more because I've been playing that. I just did ending C. It was like 3 a.m, so I just couldn't take like the extra half hour to do ending D. So I went to bed and I have yet to do that. Now I was going to start Resident Evil this weekend and I still plan on it, but there was a surprise drop this weekend that has destabilized everything, and that is Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance. I am going to be, I think, the only one here who's very happy about this, but I was so relieved when this thing dropped and it got announced to go into the comments and see so many people thinking the same thing I thought, which was like, holy fuck, this was my childhood. I thought, because I would go up to my buddy's house. This is a little story time for young Maddie. My buddy lived up the hill from me, and we would always play Mega Man together, which is one of the series I hold very near and dear to my heart, and we'd play Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance as well as the Champions series. So Champions of Norath, Champions Return to Arms. All of them came from Snowblind Studios, this kind of Diablo-style game studio. It was the introduction, I think, to a lot of people like myself, like that generation. When it came to Diablo, we didn't have PCs, so we weren't playing Diablo 1 and 2. So like the Champion series, Baldur's Gate, these were, I should mention, Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance spin-off from the original Baldur's Gate games. But these were like my Diablos. That alongside, to some extent, Marvel Ultimate Alliance, like that gameplay style. That's what I associate that top-down action RPG sort of genre with. So this game was major to me growing up. And I always thought with Dark Alliance releasing this summer, which is from Wizards of the Coast, and it's a reimagining, and it's not called Baldur's Gate, but it is set in the Wizards of the Coast universe, and so it technically is Baldur's Gate, but it's just called Dark Alliance. And so when I saw that come out and it was $40 or it's coming out, I was like, all right, so they're probably not going to bring back the original, but they did. So I have not played it. It's $30, which is a little pricey, but this is one of the few times I'm going to bite because I actually really, 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 really do like this game. I want to do a review of it for the audience. I know I have a lot of people in my audience who are excited about it. One of our patrons and mods on YouTube, Jake, was pretty vocal about his excitement when about the game when I was streaming Champions of Norath about a week and a half ago, right before we went into full gear for the 2.0 launch. So we'll be getting back to streaming soon, by the way, for those who are curious. But yeah, I got a lot of stuff that's really exciting me because then I'm sandwiched, fellas, because I also have Mass Effect coming up, and I'm hoping I get that at least a couple of days early, just so I can get some impressions out, because I've fucking covered this game since the beginning of 2020. It was like February 2020 I started, and like here we are now, it's about to release. So a lot of good stuff to play. What I'm thinking is probably I will just let Resident Evil rest on the shelf for maybe an extra week or so, because I'm also very excited for Biomutant. So there's a lot of great stuff coming out this month. Yeah, Biomutant's finally generating some hype. I made a video on it last year, and it got like 250,000 views, and anyone who saw it was like, wow, this looks great. But no one was really talking about it. So now they're showing off stuff like the character creator, the combat, the world. You know, it's this kung fu, post-apocalyptic, animal-filled RPG. Like Sly Cooper meets the end of the world kind of shit, except it's a role-playing game, and it looks awesome. So a lot of good stuff coming out, like I've said a couple of times now, and I'm really excited for some games this month. And so kind of have that good problem here of, what do I play? I don't know. So I think what I'm going to do is bang out Nier first and then hop into Baldur's Gate for a review before Mass Effect. Get that done with. So I'm really, really pumped to do some gaming this weekend. And if I end up laid up in bed because of my arm, that's okay. Got plenty of stuff to keep me entertained.
Maddie, just so you know, you have been recruited for the Sacred Symbols plus spoiler cast of Nier.
I have heard.
So
I listened and I was like, they don't have to ask me. That's fine. I will be there.
No, I knew you'd be down. I think that's gonna probably. I mean, the next 2 weeks are filled up, so maybe in three or four.
Whatever you want, I will be there.
Yeah, cool.
And I will remember this time. Promise. Dustin, you'll probably hate me as time goes on. Like, you first met me, you're like, this Matty guy, he's pretty cool. And then as you get to know me, you get closer, you're like, I fucking know this asshole too well now. He is such a forgetful piece of shit.
Well, that's the interesting thing is that I, as a producer for Last Stand, it's my job to be on people's ass, because that's just what a producer does. You got to, you're getting everybody together, making sure this goes this way, talking to the ad people, doing this, getting things scheduled, whatever. So, there's always just a degree of how much you need to be on someone's ass. And so I've learned with Matty, I'm going to be on that ass.
You really do. I hate that about myself too. You really do though. You really absolutely need to be on my ass sometimes. Not because I don't want to do anything, but because I fill up my own plate. And then I forget to eat.
Right.
I'm getting better. I'm sending you the titles and descriptions of Defining Duke. So we're getting
That's right.
there. I'm sending it to them on launch
day. Getting better. That's right.
All right, gentlemen. Unless there's more to be said, shall we get into the news?
Let's do it.
All right. Cool. So, of course, the top of the week has to go to Epic and Apple, who have been waging a legal war in the courtroom. And pretty much what we're going to do is recap this stage by stage. I want to give a shout out to Game Informer. They did a really great job just recapping kind of the major points throughout it, and keeping it in a nice, succinct manner where if you don't know what's going on, you can catch up on it. But I just wanted to follow their bullet points so we know the major markings to hit here. So for those who, first of all, don't know why these two are in a courtroom in the first place, it's because Epic tried to circumvent Apple's 30% cut through Fortnite Mobile and just like avoid the App Store entirely and take pretty much all the money for themselves. Apple didn't like that. Epic disagreed. Microsoft got involved. Here we are now where fucking everything is getting shown from behind closed doors. So I said this on Defining Duke, but anyone who sent Tim Sweeney an email in the last like half a decade is probably
sweating bullets,
shitting bricks right now. Like, oh fuck, anything can come out of here now.
Except for Phil, who apparently is just like the most chill dude in the world. The misspellings we talked about during the Defining Duke were hilarious.
Yeah.
He like had like from a CEO, it's pretty. I've worked for CEO. Most of the time they have shit checked. And he's like, hey man, you know about our stuff instead of no. And I saw that and I was just like, oh, that's sort of humanizing. It was sort of cool to see somebody just sitting back and talking normally.
Yeah, because Phil always talks like he's got a PR person in his ear. All right, so first thing we learned. Oh, sorry.
That's him.
Yeah, I agree.
I was just saying, I think that's him.
First thing that we learned that was pretty significant really had to do with PlayStation and crossplay. So it was yeah, right. It was revealed through a couple of emails that, let's just say that PlayStation is not a fan of crossplay. They were pretty much saying, I'm going to pull up the actual emails here in a sec, but it was an exchange between Gio Corsi and a member of Epic, where Epic was explaining, like, here's why you would want to partner with us and allow crossplay. And what was interesting even is that they worded it as, right here is the quote, we announce crossplay in conjunction with Sony. Epic goes out of its way to make Sony look like heroes. You get to pick when, where, and how. So the wording for this document is fascinating because it's stuff that people on YouTube have said in speculatory manner. Like, it is fascinating. So let me go ahead and actually just read the whole thing here for you now that I got it up. So this is the first part, which comes from Joe Kreiner, business development at Unreal Engine Epic Games, pleading to Sony to enable crossplay. 1, we give you the data you're asking for and the marketing data ask. 2, Epic deeply integrates Sony's esports API into Unreal Engine 4 as an engine-level feature. We market and advertise it as a first-class citizen of the engine, maybe at an E3 announcement, and we support it in Fortnite. 3, we announce crossplay in conjunction with Sony. This is the hero part. 4, Epic brands its E3 presence with PlayStation. We're planning a 100-person celebrity pro-am with huge after party. Budgets I've seen are huge, and it'll be the biggest event at E3. Maybe we announce it after with all the celebs on stage. Epic's willing to explore more items. Maybe we commit to a game at the launch of your next VR platform. PS Plus, maybe we do something extra special for a month, offering a unique character or something highly valuable to drive PS Plus adoption even more. And 7, Epic extends the Sony company-wide Unreal Engine 4 license. I don't think I've mentioned this before, but your license to use Unreal Engine 4 expires May 2019. The license has some of the best terms we've ever offered in Unreal Engine 4. Then Gio Corsi, who was the senior director developer relations at the time, and also what I thought was more interesting is that Gio Corsi was really popular in the PlayStation community for pretty much like pioneering the Vita. Vita lives. But he said that, quote, crossplay is not a slam dunk no matter the size of the title, end quote. And as you know, many companies are exploring this idea, and not one can explain how cross-console play improves the PlayStation business. And so this is the first one I wanted to talk about because kind of what everyone suspected was true, which was that PlayStation was really against crossplay. And to see it just in the fine print by someone who was representing the developer relations was neat. So, Dustin, I want to pass this off to you first because Karak and I have shared some thoughts on Defining Duke. We always try to avoid overlap for those who listen to both our shows because we take great care in that with our topic selection and all that stuff. So, Dustin, I want to hear from you first on what you make of some of this.
So, first of all, seeing the emails from Gio is very interesting and particularly weird if you listen to this week's Sacred Symbols because he is a patron of Last Stand Media and listens to Sacred Symbols. So I was like, sorry, Gio, reading your emails. Like,
ooh.
But I think I know a lot of people are just think that like there's eventually become this understanding that like crossplay is like almost like a human right of gamers. But I think Gio made a very good point in the context of PlayStation at that time that they really didn't have anything to gain, especially with how far behind. Again, think about the time frame. What year was that email dated? 2018? Most likely?
2019.
29. Oh, that's even later than I thought.
It came from 2019.
Okay. But still,
well, actually, let me double check one thing. Keep going.
Yeah. So I can understand, and I totally understand him saying like, no one has provided a legitimate reason or that of how this benefits us.
2018. Sorry.
And I understand that people saw that as an anti-consumer move, and maybe it is in a way, but you got to weigh out the pros and cons of all these different situations. Obviously, they ended up going by the way of crossplay. What's funny about that list, Maddie, the list you read out, none of those things on the list is compensation for quote unquote like loss of sales on other platforms. But we now know from other leaked documents that Epic Games did work out a deal with Sony that basically if someone bought a Fortnite skin on their phone or whatever, but then spent most of their time playing on PlayStation, that Epic was giving the PlayStation money for that loss of sale. So you have that list of things, and then that's not even listed. So basically, and this is what I said on Sacred, was Epic Games was like, here, we want crossplay. Here's everything on a silver platter. And Sony said, make it platinum. Like it was all of that plus the compensation as well. So, but you got to wonder too, because like Xbox could have worked out a deal for something like that as well. But I don't know, because they were more desperate in order to enable something like that. They probably were just happy to do it. But obviously now that's all in the past. You got to wonder though, Sony's messaging about crossplay has always been like it said in the documents. They tried to make them look like the heroes at the end of the day. But is Call of Duty have an agreement with them for loss of sales? Is Activision paying Sony for skins bought on other platforms but then used on PlayStation? Who knows? In the indie space, it seems like they're not requiring those deals because a lot of smaller companies are open and they're just like, oh yeah, whatever. But Fortnite, I mean, part of those leaked documents also were like Fortnite made however many, like $8 billion or something crazy, multiple billions of dollars, and most of it was on PlayStation. So it's a little bit of a different beast than something much smaller. So I can understand that. But yeah, it's interesting getting a look behind the scenes.
Absolutely. Karak, I know a little bit of your thoughts, but have they developed? Do you where do you stand on PlayStation saying no thank you to crossplay initially? Obviously, getting into it super deep when things are different now is really not worth it. But of course, the fact that they were pretty resistant to it up front, I found a smidge concerning. But what do you make of it now?
Yeah, I mean, if you, like I stated, especially technical writing, when you look at his wording, that's basically building an iron wall, but not saying no. That's pretty typical of somebody who's really, really egotistical. You usually look at it psychology, like by looking at, and when you hear that, no one has ever been able to prove, which by the way, you could prove just financially within seconds that it would be feasible for Sony to do it. So that's not really it's not really get out of jail free card. Everything that you see is somebody who's really at the top of their game, which is what Sony was. But at the same time, Epic was offering them pretty much everything, and they were still, which that's the ego coming in.
Yeah.
So ego is what destroys multimillionaires, not the money. And I think people get that confused, is that Sony's always done well. It's Sony's ego combined with everything else that consistently puts them at this teeter-totter, and they've got away with it forever. And one of the reasons why is because I think they're fairly notorious for like a weird fan loyalty that's in place. And you could say the same for Nintendo and in some ways Microsoft. Sony's just a little bit different. So to me, it wasn't that surprising. And that's the rumor we had always heard. And that's even leakers that I've talked to were like, no, they're definitely against it. They have been for ages. It's not really that surprising. I think the only thing that I'll continue to say is I do like that all of the conversations, other than Sony's, admittedly, now that I think about it, most of the conversations were very, hey, bro, which I sort of dig. Talked about that before. Like, how do a lot of conversations go? Is it like two dudes on the golf course being like, you know what? Let's fucking do it, man. Together. And Sony's a little bit more business-like in all their stuff, but even some of their stuff is nuts. He's batshit insane. But I do like that he's just like, we'll do this. And it's just pretty easy to understand. It's less legalese and more Timmy's. It's just Tim stating what he's going to do if a company wants to work with him, which I sort of like. I don't take away that he's completely ass over tea kettle, but overall, I like his, old saying from my grandmother. I like his, I like the way they talk. I like the idea of people possibly getting together, even if it doesn't mean best, like that somebody's always coming out super ahead. I like that teamwork idea of furthering games.
Yeah,
you hear it sometimes.
My friends and I do Fantasy League, and anytime we try to make a trade with players, it'll never be a fair trade because everyone's trying to rip one another off, right? Or get like super far ahead. So for those who are looking for something a little more relatable, that's kind of how I view it, right? Is like these
Don't look at Maddie's emails then concerning. I'm assuming your emails are like, bitch, I'm getting Jerome Bettis or whoever. I don't even know who plays anymore. He's been out for years. But you know what I mean.
I wonder if it's because we said this for so long about games where certain interactions were like, oh, I wonder if it's like that, and we've been kind of right on. And so I wonder with these sports trades at times, I like my friends and I.
Oh right.
My friend had this package deal that he just kept hitting me up. He was like, he would always say Springer and Stanton for someone. I forgot who it was. But point being is he would text me that every fucking day. And I'm like, I wonder if these GMs in sports are just phoning each other every day. Just repeat the offer. Wear them down. Repeat the offer. Psychological warfare. So, yeah, I like what I saw. Both for the good and the bad. I think Xbox came out looking a little shinier from this, but since PlayStation has changed their mind here, I think this would be a little bit more of a bruise if they were still kind of being the stick in the mud. But this is exactly what we've been saying for a while, is that PlayStation seemingly had a bit of an ego, and it shows in those emails, because they were like, how does it benefit us? It's not really about how it benefits the consumer and them. But maybe that's not the most sensible.
Agree with Dustin, by the way.
Business operation.
Man, I don't fucking want to hear anybody try to pretend that anti-consumer. First of all, if you got, and even Dustin and I have disagreed on this, but we're certainly in agreement here that anti-consumer needs to mean anti-consumer.
Yeah.
Don't misuse that term, because you're going to fuck everybody up. And
Right.
you're not ever going to be able to actually attack a real anti-consumer thing. If you miss, it is the wolf crying. It is the kid crying wolf. That is for sure. Do not try to pretend that's anti-consumer. There's a difference. People need to have that driven into their fucking head, so that way, when an anti-consumer thing comes forward, I can say it in the world, and everybody knows that that's anti-consumer.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And that's how I'd like to move forward. That what they're talking about, all this stuff we're hearing, it's not anti-consumer.
No.
Not
Well,
what we want.
It would benefit the
thing-
consumer, though, if they did do it. So it's not really anti-consumer. It's just.
But that's not the same. Anti means aggressively against.
Yeah,
The
I know.
antithesis of.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're absolutely right. It could be positive for consumer, by the way. Not all consumers.
It would be like people, this argument, like saying if Sony doesn't allow crossplay, it's anti-consumer, which is a thing that I saw people talking about. It's like, well, is it anti-consumer the fact that they charge for their games? Is it anti-consumer the fact that they are selling their first-party games instead of putting them on a subscription? No, it's a fucking business decision. Like you said, Karak, you'll fucking know when it's anti-consumer. Like,
Yeah.
well,
And you need to know, man.
I got a question for you, Karak. Let's take this up a notch. Was when Xbox announced that they were doubling the price of Xbox Live Gold, was that considered anti-consumer?
I didn't see it posted as it, and it wouldn't be. It would be a dumb business decision by a business, not be anti-consumer. I would though argue that people who currently get paid. We actually talked about this on my podcast in a reverse way about people who are at a company and new people coming in get paid at a higher rate. What do you do with the people who are already there? So in a weird way, the one way I could see somebody complaining about this, and I'd have to check legalese, I still don't think this is anti-consumer, would be if you are currently paying and we then raise, like we double the current consumer's subscription rate, becomes anti-consumer at that point.
Okay.
But the thing is anti-consumer usually falls into a service and a requirement for livelihood. So it's not like, by the way, multiple states are trying to prove internet is anti-consumer. Lack of internet is anti-consumer. That is actually trying to be proven, that everything like 911 now, like all these things are on broadband. And so technically we're getting to the point to where not having internet could be considered unsafe in this world. We can argue for that, but I don't think Xbox Live. I don't think Xbox Live is.
You're not a real gamer because I need to game to survive. Okay. So it is anti-consumer.
That's
Anything
true.
that prohibits my ability to game is anti-consumer.
I agree.
Play everything. I think the cool thing though is that people come away with this and know a little bit more, and then you have people who are knowledgeable a little bit more. I think all that's really cool. I would like to see people remember this stuff. Internet has a weird history of memory, man. We got a weird fucking selective memory.
You don't say.
I would like people to remember this, because moving forward, you learn a couple lessons. You're like, oh, this is how these guys talk, which, by the way, like I said, is very cool. And then the next time you hear people be like, oh, there's 50 lawyers in the room every time, you can be like, well, we know for a fact that platform holders were emailing each other in what appears to be hot tubs on Twitch. Like, I don't know. The more I envision Phil, and by the way, I don't know if you saw this, Maddie, but we got a bunch of comments about us pretending Phil. I don't know if you remember, but the fucking smoking dope.
Oh yeah.
And like leaning back and being like, "Sup, man? You know what? Listen." And I got a bunch of people on my Patreon just being like, "Dude, that is fucking hilarious." Like the idea of Phil just being like the casual. I hope people remember this and move forward, because some people treat, and I've done it, CEOs like shit sometimes. Like, we can treat them like shit for other things, but sometimes they are gamers too. You know, a lot of people will be like, "Oh, these guys aren't gamers," blah blah blah. And it's like apparently, at least a couple of them are. It's cool to humanize them a little bit.
Speaking of, let's humanize Xbox a little bit here. So, according to some documents that have been released, it looks like Phil Spencer is open to bringing xCloud to other consoles in an email to Tim Sweeney, which we're starting to see more and more as they bring xCloud to the likes of iOS, Android devices, PC streaming's becoming a thing. But they're saying that they're really not against the word choice here was consoles. Phil said he hadn't given up on that yet, and that was August of 2020. Since then, we've seen, as we've reported on this show, on Defining Duke especially, even on my own YouTube coverage, we're seeing Nintendo Switches in the background, which is pretty deliberate. And I know in some way, shape, or form, they got to be doing something with that just because, once again, it's one thing if it's Phil's house, but when you have a studio space and they're like, let's put a Switch right here in view, it's very deliberate because something's happening. We don't know if it's the extent of a Master Chief Collection on Switch or xCloud on Switch or something from Switch is coming to Xbox. We don't really know. But what we see in paper here in 2020 is that Phil Spencer is open to bringing these services to other consoles, which makes sense. That's seemingly been the future for Xbox now that Game Pass continues to grow. Day one drops on the service. It's a pretty exciting loop in our show. Most of our questions in our show revolve around Game Pass because so many people are fascinated by it. By the way, if you have yet to see it on Last Stand Media, we did a full interview with Mike Rose where we talked about the positive impressions of Game Pass, and he actually just announced that they renewed a deal for Descenders, which has about a monthly 1 million players, he said. And that'll be there on Game Pass for about another year. Yeah.
It's got 1 million play. It's a game about fucking riding a bike downhill. If you guys don't realize that has to all be Game Pass, man.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of it has to be the ability for people to get that without spending an amount of money and then liking what they played.
Well, I should clarify my word choice. He says we now see more than 1 million sessions every month. Game downloads in the second year were much higher than the
first. I thought.
Yeah, he actually posted the graph of what it's done. Yeah, it's been huge. I added that immediately to our Defining Duke list. But yeah, man, like fucking awesome.
In the day, guys, imagine the day in the future, someday far in the future, when we sit down, and maybe this is Microsoft, maybe this is all of them combined, but you just don't, it's not even a platform, man. And it's like everybody just creates a game engine they want, and you're able to just like play it and it for maybe free, maybe demo. Every game gets a demo. I think that'd be another amazing thing to happen here soon, is if every game gets a, I don't know, 15-minute timer or something. Even though Resident Evil, didn't somebody hack the timer? They did. The PC gamers hacked the Resident Evil timer on the demo. I don't know if you guys saw that. They did figure out a way to hack the mod, or to use a mod to hack the timer.
So you could just keep running around and just play.
So you can keep running around. Yeah. I think you had to turn it off, but you could load back up, and they figured out a way to like reset it back to 0.
I love that. Yeah, that's probably why devs don't do demos anymore. They're just like, fucking assholes.
Probably.
We're trying to just let a consumer test it and buy our product, and they get blown open every fucking time. So yeah, Xbox is looking pretty sharp. It was also revealed through another set of documents that Stalker 2 will be a 3-month at least exclusive to the Xbox ecosystem. And Stalker 2 doesn't really have a lot of hype around it right now outside of its pretty core community. But that was another thing that was kind of unexpectedly shown off during this. Like, so many people are probably so confused because these documents will just float under my timeline. I'm like, oh, there's another unexpected confirmation. There were a bunch of redacted, they called them high-profile releases for 2020 as well as 2021. 2021 having a ton of titles removed from it because of all the delays. what was really interesting about that is their terminology of high-profile releases, because they had Balan Wonderland or whatever the fuck that game is called on a high-profile release. I was like, Jesus. Someone put it in the comments of our show, and I was like, okay, yeah, they're right about that. That's really not a
Here's the thing, though.
High-profile.
Maddie, though, was it considered high-profile before the shit reviews came in? The reason why I asked that, the only reason why I ask it, is because almost everybody I know had a review copy and wanted it. Now, I had not heard of it until 1 week prior at all. I know it was a thing. But was this game supposedly supposed to be something?
It had Yuji Naka.
Is it connected?
And it's like working on it, which was kind of a big deal.
Yuji Naka, is he Sega Knights?
He did, I think he did Knights, and I think Sonic. He was no. And
it explains the fucking guys on the front. Thank you, because it looked like the fucking the jester guy.
And also,
okay, gotcha.
Hey, don't get me wrong. By the way, this was. I'm gonna be real. This was almost a blind purchase for me because I saw the trailers and I was like, "How could this go bad?" Like that was my thought process. And I know it sounds ridiculous now, but I was like, "Oh, it's cutesy 3D platformer." It's kind of how I felt about Super Lucky's Tale. I'm like, "How do you fuck this up?" Like this looks simple but good. It's got a pretty lively looking world. Then you see the demo impressions and the reviews, and you're like, okay, I see where Humanity's Worst Games is heading. You know, so that'll definitely be a feature at some point in time. But when I'm mentally prepared, that is. But yeah, it was just interesting to see all of this pop up. And last but not least, from this whole slew of information was the amount of money that Epic would pay companies to feature their games as their free downloads to help bring in new Epic accounts. And the payouts were really, really different per company. Like there were some real fleeces here as I looked over it again. I'm looking at Rhyme, a game that was pretty good. Indie game, but pretty good. $45,000. $45,000 fucking dollars. And it got downloaded 2 million times. And it brought in 100,000 accounts. Like that's crazy to me. Another one that I mentioned on Defining Duke was For Honor, which was $63,000.
Yeah.
Alan Wake got $150,000, which I think is fair, but I'm saying like for comparison's sake, that's pretty much a gigantic gap.
The thing about For Honor though is that that's a back way into getting people to buy shit within the game.
That's very fair.
Most likely.
Very fair point. Yep. That's entirely true. What else do we have here? Stories Untold.
That's a cool game.
$300,000, Dustin. Do you think that's
it's a neat game?
You think it's a good pay? Good price, I mean?
I don't know. It's not. I mean, it's like it's a really interesting game. It's like a text-based game, but it has some 3D. It's kind of hard to describe. It's been a while though since I played it. I don't know if it's worth that.
Celeste got $750,000, which it's like
deserved.
Yeah,
probably.
But I mean, just think of how much money that small team has, right? Between the sales, I think it's on
a good
Game
game.
Pass. Yeah.
Good for them.
Yeah, it pays to make a good game, ladies and gentlemen.
Whoa,
that's what I'm saying.
Don't get crazy, Matty.
It pays for some companies because apparently, keep reading. Yeah. Some companies made good games and still didn't get paid for it.
Yeah. What else do we got here? We got Axiom Verge, $80,000, which is another very popular indie title. And if they saw this, they'd probably be like, "What the fuck? We got $600,000."
I don't even know what that game is.
How do you negotiate that high of a price? Is my question. Like, do you just go, Celeste is the best shit ever? Just drop your dick on the table. That's it. Give me almost $1 million.
Or representation, which is unfortunate. You know. Like who you have repping you. Are you repping yourself, or do you have a lawyer repping you? I mean, that could happen. And, you know, and again, that I told you, we had talked about this on my podcast about the wages of people. The reason why I brought it up is because in some societies, like, is it cool to know somebody else's wage? And my personal belief is it causes way too many problems than not knowing in a fair system. But then the question came up is like, here we go. Everybody knows. What does this mean for the future, man? Because one thing, I saw somebody online, you and I talked about this, Maddie. I saw somebody online being like, everybody needs to fight for 3 times as much as they're getting right now from Epic, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, whoa. Company can easily just turn the money off. Need to be, like, that's where intelligence in deliberate deal making comes from. And I have sat in talking about millions of dollars, and I can tell you can price yourself out of a deal in seconds.
Yeah.
And you won't know. You'll walk away and be like, I think we're good. And they'll be like, we went with somebody else. And you won't know why. You know.
Transistor did $200,000, which was pretty solid.
That
price
seems low.
I thought it was all right.
Yeah, see, that seems
it's
low
like
to
their
me.
least popular.
Dude,
I think.
You got other.
Like because they did Bastion, they did Pyre. Maybe Pyre's their least popular.
That is
now that I think about it. We like Pyre a lot, so we're a little biased. But
Pyre is awesome.
Yeah, Pyre's fucking awesome. That is, and then Hades is just like the more I hear about Returnal, all I'm saying is I appreciate Hades more and more. I'm waiting to play Returnal until there's some patches done. But Dustin, listening to you and Colin talk about Returnal, it just like
our review of Returnal.
Yes, your full review
of
a complete
deleted. Did you guys see the patch? The patch came out that deleted people's save games too. Mm-hmm. Even though the save game isn't really a save game, but you get my drift. Yeah, it came. Yeah. They pulled it. It was out for like 8 hours, and then they pulled it. It was that bad. It was corrupting people's stuff and destroying it.
Dude, it's pretty messy.
It sucks. That's how you grab failure and thrust it into success and destroy success. It's like a fucking falcon punch of failure.
I don't want to just spiral us, but I feel like that's a big problem with gaming. Is I feel like a lot of these critics came out the gate very positive on this. Karak, you and I talked behind the scenes, and you were like seemingly in the middle on it, if that's accurate to say. Not in love with it, but not against it.
Yeah, I would middle high.
Yeah, like you liked a lot more things. And now that things are breaking, critics have gone pretty quiet because they sort of cast their die and said, like, this is the call. It's worth it. It's been hyped up as this big PlayStation exclusive. And I'm not saying it's bad, by the way. I want to make that clear. I have a copy provided by PlayStation. I am going to play it, and I'm going to buy my own copy afterwards, regardless of the fact. So I will be supporting the developer. But despite all of that, I just think that the conversation for the broken state this game seems to have been in, and this is coming from someone who's pretty tolerant with bugs, I've found it overly mute. Is that fair to suggest?
It's fair to really almost. I mean, it's not fair to think anything you want, but
would you agree? Am I alone on this mountain? Or this island, I should say. This piece of land.
I feel like I really do need to play more of it.
Bugs.
Karak, as someone who's beat it then, I believe you beat it. I
beat it twice. I don't think you should. I don't feel comfortable speaking about somebody else's bugs because they will speak about my bugs and fuck you. Like, I have a different experience than you. But I will say, I haven't heard a review other than mine talk about the way the RNG is set up, which is fucked, or was, until they've done multiple patches fixed.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
I even had another reviewer who just yesterday, they were like, dude, seriously, it took me 2 days, but I actually absolutely see what you're talking about now. He's like, I totally disagreed with you. I didn't understand what you were talking about. But he's like, that's because I tracked the RNG while I was playing it. I was like, something's wrong. Something's like, there's definitively some. And the thing is if somebody played it differently than me, no problem, because they may have had a different experience. So I don't want to speak for them. I just don't on this game. So don't believe that balance needs to be perfect on games. I'm a firm believer. We talked about this with R2 Rob or whatever his name is. I firmly like a broken game. I've talked about it multiple times. I don't mind a game where things are really offset. However, the game didn't warn you of those things. The game didn't set you up to know some of these things were going to happen. And there were just too many problems. But I would agree with you that I haven't heard a lot of people I haven't heard a lot of people saying like why they didn't mention some of the stuff that they had, but it also happened. I've just recently realized with Resident Evil. I've been watching and reading a lot of coverage on Resident Evil, and I'm like, I'm not saying the scores don't make sense, but there's there's some context that I'm missing because there's a lot of people being like 10 out of 10 and their review is pretty negative. And I'm just like, I'm not quite getting where the gap is. And it seems like there's a gap. And for other people, it seems like Returnal has a gap.
Matty, what you're saying about critics backing off or whatever, now that people have their hands on it, it's really interesting. It's interesting to hear that you say that because I'm not in any way disagreeing, but the feedback to the Sacred Symbols Plus episode where I kind of my general take was, I like this. The RNG is a little off, and there's a little bit too much terminology to learn, which is, I think
language. We talked about it. I think
we talked about that. Yeah. So we talked about that. But Colin is not really into it right now. But he's holding out judgment because he, like you, is waiting for some more patches. Our audience is not in agreement at all with us. In fact, some of them seem lightly upset that Colin doesn't like it, which is always funny to me. That it's like, you want us to have a diverse opinion. That's good. But
no, the first time somebody says you're independent and thanks for being different, the moment you're different from them, they get mad.
Yeah,
right.
Happens to me a lot.
Right.
Yeah. So my Immortals Phoenix Rising review is the biggest representation of that. I literally start my review going, I'm the outlier. I don't care. People were like, how could you have this opinion? I thought you were a good reviewer. I'm like, a good reviewer stands by their fucking opinion even when they know it's an outlier.
Returnal.
Like, yeah. Fuck. Sorry, Dustin. I cut you
off. No, you're good. Yeah. So I don't know. It's an interesting situation. I don't know. People, we're in a weird, obviously our industry, our job is very weird. People pay us indirectly for our opinion, sometimes directly. And then they also don't like it when they don't agree with it. But not everyone. We do have, I mean, I don't want to cast the entire audience out. That's not what I mean at all. It's unfortunate. It's just that the people that are the most vocal are the ones that can get under our skin, which again, you guys know, we always try to, of course, not bring too much attention to the people that aggravate us. We want to give attention to people that,
unless I am live streaming, I typically don't. Dustin, you saw a snippet of that when you and I were like streaming together. Like someone just came in to say something to me negative. I will run it. They will come in and flick me and I will punch them in the face. Like that's how I treat it. Cause like it's one thing if you leave a comment, I can just kind of skim over it or miss it, or it's like whatever, it's in the past now. But when you actively come in to try to say something to me while I'm live, as if you were right in front of me, I'm going to respond to you. So I remember me and Dustin were streaming Outriders, and someone just came in and said something to me that was trivial. And I just called them out by name, or her out, I don't know, by name, shit on them a little bit, and then just carried on with my day. And they just shut up at that point because they probably, I picture him sitting there like this. Oh, fuck. Like, you know, like he saw that, you know, and he actually said, and it's just like, that's the only time I personally want to call it out. I've had a bad habit at times of I listen closely to the audience as always, but I think there's a thing is not trusting yourself when you listen so closely. You know what I mean? When you don't trust all of your experience and guidance and wisdom that you build up over the years. So yeah.
Right.
I think I was just going to say, I do think that consumers who are playing it and loving it, having no issues, that's awesome. And it is. And I think it's completely possible. I watched somebody stream it and they had no end of issues. They had crashes, everything. The very next person I watched stream it on the same patch incredibly well and wasn't a better player. And I'm not saying you can tell instantly that they were a better player. I'm saying you could tell that they were making some of the same mistakes. It's just that their setup, you know, whatever pluses and bonuses and treasure chests they got were dropping better. And what was happening was they were dropping infinitesimally better. Mm-hmm. The RNG that's weird, what just happened to not happen to this person that happened to the other person. And I think that's all okay. And when it comes to the reviews, I haven't really seen anywhere I'm like, what the fuck? But for me, at least, I think what probably happened is, and I can't speak to this anymore because they patched it. I will say that the experience I had and some of the things missing, like tutorials, that they stated in the NDA, we are giving more tutorials. I don't know what people are playing versus what I played. So if they are having an easier time, or maybe even a harder time for some reason, there's a big gap there already. And I will say, I've had this discussion, not with Jim, but I had it with other people, because I don't talk to Jim on a personal level. And that's, I don't think I've ever reached out. But Jim talked about Hellblade 2, Jim Sterling. And he was like, I got a bug at the end of Hellblade, sorry. I got a bug at the end of Hellblade. Don't get it, right? People attacked him. and he removed it. And I was like, whoa, why? That's your honest. That is your experience. You had a game-ending bug. It was completely game-ending. You didn't have a warning about it, which we will get in NDAs. You'll get a warning saying, hey, there's a game-ending bug here, blah, blah, blah. I don't think that's unfair. I might be completely by myself on that. So I think most of the reviews I've seen seem a little fair, and I think some people have probably just moved on too. Resident Evil popped up pretty quickly. So I think some people just jump to that and they don't care about the Returnal discussion.
Makes sense.
One last thing about the Returnal discussion about it is that there's nuance, but not online. Remember, there's everything has nuance, but not when we discuss it. To me, it feels like this whole issue of the difficulty, right? And Karak, you're saying that it's like some people can have a much easier experience, some people much harder. A lot of that due to RNG.
Range.
I just don't love. I hate this idea because this was propping up on the response to Sacred Symbols, where Colin was like, "Yeah, I'm not very good at this game. I'm finding it to be very difficult, and it's a detractor to my experience." Some people were like, "Oh, well, you're just not that good at the game. Apparently, if you were better at it, if you put more time in, you'd like it a lot more." It's like, again, this is the whole thing that it's like, this is how my experience with the game, how I played it. If you don't like that opinion, or if you think I might be wrong in my thinking, then find another person's opinion, and maybe that will conform to what you want if that's what you're really after. But there's this idea that one person's opinion is the authoritative end all be all on a game. It's like, if you're trying to decide if you want to purchase this game, go to multiple people, watch Karak's review. You can hear what Colin and I said on Sacred Symbols, and it's not a review, but it's a perspective, and you can try to line that up with your own tastes or whatever. The whole thing about difficulty is so weird. Obviously, we don't want game reviewers only playing on easy, blitzing through the game, and not disclosing that's how they played it. That's a whole different thing. That's not what I'm saying. But if a game out the gate without options is really fucking hard and it's distracting from the experience for that reviewer, that is perfectly legitimate.
Do firmly also believe, and I believe this to my heart, and I will argue it even with the devs, that the first level should be the second level, and the second level should be the first level.
Oh.
The first level is basically a skill bind, like you would see with a third or fourth boss in a Souls, where they teach you a bunch of shit, and when you leave, you are now able to take on the first level enemies easily because the elevation of skill has risen. This is something we saw with Neo 1 in particular. Those tight spaces in that first level, those tight spaces mixed with some crazy ass RNG is ridiculous. I got battles that were unbelievable. And by the way, I love hard games. I think they're hilarious. I don't get that frustrated. Returnal's the first game ever where I got physically angry. I didn't even I got angry not because of skill most of the time. It's because the drops were weird, and they were anti-drops. 50% loss of damage while moving, 50% loss of damage while standing still. What the fuck does that even mean? In what world? What does that mean? What do I do? One that said, I can't remember what it was, but it was anti-pickup, and the only way to get rid of it was by picking things up. And it was just, brain was like, I couldn't wrap my head around it sometimes. And I think that that's on the devs. The devs should have, there's some terminology that we thought was thick. That could be fixed. The get good thing doesn't make a lot of sense to me because I actually think that some people who aren't great at this have beat it. I watched somebody yesterday play it in my Discord, and they weren't great, and they beat it, but they beat it because of good drops.
They're listening, and they thought
and
they were
so,
good.
Yeah, no, dude, you're not good. No, I told him he wasn't good. And I don't mean not good like
I know, I'm
he
just
sucks.
teasing.
I just mean, you dodge a lot. I do that. I don't know about you guys. I'll get in a game where dodge is pretty invulnerable, and I'll fucking spam the dodge. I'll look like a freak. Yeah, I'll be like through the game, and people who know what they're doing will be like, Karak, what do you or reload? I know some people get pissy, but they'll be like, dude, why'd you reload? Personally, to me, if I have a millisecond of time I'm going to reload, I want the full number of bullets.
Dude, I blame MW2 to this fucking day. Multiplayer MW2.
To this day.
I fucking reloaded because all the guns had such a high rate of fire. So anytime I had a second, I'm like,
right,
like all the time. And every game since,
there's a fucking 4-foot space. I reloaded. Like it was like 4 foot. Reload as quick as possible. Move on. But
dude, because the worst
I think it's interesting.
Sorry, just real quick. The worst is when you're fucking reloading, and let's say it's a survival game or something, and let's say you got 5 bullets, and the max of the clip is 6. When you reload it, it throws 5 bullets away. I'm like, you motherfucker, you're using this shit against me now.
Oh, dude.
Now I can't use. I can't reload.
I'm a big Operation Flashpoint fan. Like it's my favorite game of all time. Probably it's up in the 3, and those are very they're sticklers for all that kind of shit.
Yeah,
and I love it. But I think it's cool. I'm glad we got it. I don't think the difficulty needs to be changed for sure. Also, we can talk about accessibility, but I think and if you look at the dictionary terms, accessibility is different than difficulty. Those could be handled different ways.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm glad it got released, and it got released with some issues. I hope they patch them up. But as we walk away from it, that company will also things that they can fix. But I think they have a good, they have a really cool base work for a sequel. No, maybe not a sequel, but another bullet hell third person, which I would be very behind. I'm very much would love to play that.
Yeah, it's interesting. I've liked their games in the past, Housemarque. I've liked, Resogun is probably my favorite thing from them. I also really liked Dead Nation. I thought that was pretty cool. So this one definitely.
Did they do Nox or Nox Machina or something?
Oh, Nex Machina, I think it was.
Nox Machina, yeah, I liked that. I think that was
they
also
did
them.
Super Stardust or something like that as well. They've done a lot of arcadey games, so that's why I'm really keen on this, because Guerrilla Games is the one who showed me like we can evolve out of something completely different, like going from first person Killzone to Horizon. It's like, okay, like I'm totally open to developers taking chances now, because when you want something that bad, you'll make something good out of everything that's come out of the PlayStation first party family. Now, as time's gone on, I feel like probably I'm less in love with Horizon, but it's still really good, where I'm very excited to try Returnal. But the reason I brought all of this up in the first place, when it came to Returnal and its mechanics, is as I hear it more and more, like I don't think debuffs should be RNG. Yeah, like I think that is a really weird design choice.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
And I think that's why I like Hades, is because everything powers you up. So even if you get a bad power up compared to something, we'll say that's meta, you're still powering up. You're still getting better. And there's still things that carry over and runs permanent progression with health and your spirit gauge and so on and so forth, where even if you lose, you have gained. And I think that's what these games need at their core. Now, I know this one's different because it has a story, and the dying and restarting is a big part of all of this. But yeah, that's why I brought it up. And I thought the feedback was interesting, because I'll scroll on Twitter. I'll see a couple people saying, oh, man, it's so good. I love this. And then I'll see a lot of people just saying, yeah, not really big on this. It's really broken. This has potential. But I feel like the conversation's kind of quieting down. And I think it's most likely because we have so many other really big games breathing right down its neck. Mass Effect, Resident Evil, kind of like what Karak said. Just wanted to reiterate that. But good little talk about the status of game reviews, gents. I like that. It's always good to check in on that stuff, because I'm pretty critical of the review scene. I've always been pretty openly critical of it, not because I think mine are the bee's knees, but more so that I've been a pretty big, or really vocal, I should say, about people watching multiple reviews. Do not champion my reviews so much as the definitive reviews of all time for every single game. Maybe you'll consider my review more definitive for an RPG or something, because that's my specialty. No. That makes sense. But I just don't like the idea of people assuming a reviewer gets every single game 100% right. They just get it from top to bottom. I think everyone should be watching multiple reviews. So I like to tap into this topic pretty often when I think it's relevant. So with that, shall we continue back with the news?
Let's do it.
Yeah.
All right.
Sorry.
No problem. It did sound like you were talking to me, though, when I was just like, should we continue? You're like,
when I'm like,
go.
Run. Just get out.
I'm thinking of End of Lord of the Rings, where Gandalf's like, run, you fool.
Fly, you fools.
Fly. It's fly, not run.
Fly, you fools.
Damn it.
Such a good scene. It's such a, man, those movies are
so good, man. You know it's good when Matty can bring up a reference to a scene, right? I can't exactly quote it.
You know it's good when you've seen it. Dude, you're as anti like media TV shows as I am like watching YouTube.
I started Invincible last night as well. I'm on a roll right now.
I saw that. Or no, I saw somebody else talking about that. Did you like it? Nah, I've got it set up, but I haven't.
What show?
Invincible.
Invincible?
No.
Superhero cartoon. It's basically The Boys.
Okay.
No more superheroes.
I get that.
Oh,
this is quite good. I'm invested because I'll just say there is, and people who've seen it will know, this is not a spoiler. There was one scene in episode 1. It's good, but there's one scene in episode 1 where you go, okay, what the fuck happened? Why did this happen? And it's really what keeps you hooked. And so what's going to be interesting, and it keeps developing beyond that. It's going to be interesting here. I finished 4 episodes now, so I'm halfway through the season already. That's when you know I did that in one night. Boys, round of applause. Can we applaud Matty for that?
Not really.
No,
I'm not going to applaud you because it's a cartoon. See, so here's the difference. If this was a TV show, I'd be like, Matty just stepped forward and he's grown into an adult and he's ready to let this drop. But instead, you're like, I watched a cartoon for 4 episodes. That is not a feat for you. I think it's because it's a cartoon format for you, right? It's the anime cartoon format.
I have no defense to this.
It is.
I have no idea what
you're
talking
about.
You have
no defense.
Fuck. Because I just went to a movie theater and saw Demon Slayer. That was the only thing I actually was like, all right, let's go to the theater.
There you go.
Fuck.
Yeah. See, dude, I'm telling you, but it's cool because like I like sci-fi. Some people like fantasy and they don't like sci-fi. You just like the delivery of cartoon/anime, I think, and that's what I don't think you would get into it. Have you seen The Boys? I
have not. I have not.
Boom. Dude,
and what's funny is everyone's like, "Oh, Invincible's just an animated The Boys," and I'm like, "So I'd fucking like The Boys, probably, right?" It's
boom.
Fuck. Yeah. No, you're right. It's funny you mention that because I'm thinking, when was the last time I went to the theaters for something that was like live action, if you will,
movie,
like,
right?
Joker, I think was it. That's comic.
Oh, I haven't seen Joker still.
Wow, that's a good one. I really like it. I think a lot of people.
I know. I heard a lot of people really like it.
Yeah, I thought it was refreshingly dark, and not in the kind of corny way. Like even I think Invincible is a little guilty of it, But this Joker movie, it's no joke. Yeah, you could not laugh. I knew that. Let's go. I was waiting for it. He was like, that was pretty good.
Jesus.
Yeah, you're a little angry.
Move on.
I know. Yeah. All right. Let's get.
I don't get angry. I get depressed like a father seeing a son fail over and over again. That's all. Just joking.
Wow.
I'm just people are going to be like, "What the
fuck?"
Just like,
fucking, just disappoint, son.
People follow this guy.
Oh, it's so wrong.
Next piece of news I thought was pretty relevant. Not really video worthy for those who follow my channel, but still relevant. Another Bloomberg report from Jason Schreier, who continues his assault of CD Projekt Red. This is pretty relentless. They probably fucking hate this guy. So let's read the article and we'll discuss a little bit. The director of The Witcher 3, the most successful video game by CD Projekt Red, resigned after he was accused of bullying colleagues, sending its shares to their steepest decline since March. CD Projekt conducted a months-long investigation in the allegations of Konrad Tomaskovich, I believe is how you say it, according to an email to staff reviewed by Bloomberg. In the message, Tomaskovich wrote that a commission had investigated the allegations and found him not guilty. Nonetheless, a lot of people are feeling fear, stress, or discomfort when working with me, he wrote. He apologized to the staff for all the bad blood he has caused. Tomaskovich's work on The Witcher 3 inspired the creation of a popular Netflix series, as a lot of us know. And he's also listed as a second director and head of production for Cyberpunk 2077. All signs point to a serious ongoing problem within the morale and culture at the gaming studio. And the shares continue to fall. Tomaskovich was expected to play a significant role in the company's next game in the Witcher series. When reaching for comment, Tomaskovich confirmed his departure and said he was, quote, sad, a bit disappointed, and resigned, end quote. A representative for CD Projekt declined to comment. In an email to employees, Tomaskovich said the decision was agreed upon with the company's board. Quote, I am going to continue working on myself end quote. He wrote, quote, changing behavior is a long and arduous process, but I'm not giving up and I hope to change, end quote. So I thought this was once again interesting. I mean, when it rains, it pours. What more can you really say about CD Projekt Red? But now they're losing talent. And I thought that was probably the most significant thing here. I don't know if it's a topic we can really expand upon more, but that's just my mindset. Beyond that, what do you gents make of the latest travesty to occur within CD Projekt Red?
Go ahead, Dustin.
I don't think there's not a lot to say other than it's just a little odd that the internal audit of the situation showed that he didn't do anything wrong, but then he left anyway. So I'm a little confused by that. So I don't know. Another blow for CD Projekt Red.
Maybe if they fired him, if that was like the agreement, we can either fire you and it'll look bad, or you can leave and we'll say we found nothing, so it makes you look a little better, like you're working on. I don't know. So he has a chance to work at other places, so they're not like, oh, let's not hire this toxic person. That's just my assumption. Karak, what do you make of this situation here?
That's the only thing I thought was weird too, because it was months long. It wasn't like a small investigation. It was like, from what we understand, it was months long, and it I don't know, but it did say that he said something along the lines of people still feel, which I don't even know what the original complaints were. So I want to make sure that that's clear, but it is also possible that if he truly didn't know he was making people feel that way, he could now feel bad, true guilt. And he's like, okay, this is not going to work out here. I've made people uncomfortable, and now I'm uncomfortable because they're uncomfortable. So I'm going to leave. Yeah. And I've done that in groups where I'm like, I don't fit in this group because I'm pretty blunt, and maybe this group, different work groups where I'm like, yeah, it's probably not going to work because these people are a little, they deal with things differently. And it does suck if you hurt somebody's feelings, especially if you're not meaning to. Mm-hmm. And maybe you're just a jackass and nobody's told you or whatever. I just don't know. I don't know enough about the actual complaints. So it is weird because I don't think the investigation was around him. I thought it was just around the entire company. So I didn't know they were just like a full investigation around him, but it's pretty rare somebody's, proven to be innocent and they leave anyway, unless they truly do care. Or like you said, there was some deal. I know in America, you really can't do those. I mean, you can, but you wouldn't be able to say the investigation found nothing and then also just let them leave. There's some legalities there. I don't know. Where are they? Sweden? Yeah, Sweden.
Poland, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what their laws are. So it's odd. It's sad as a whole for everybody.
Yep. Not much more we can really go
institutional knowledge out there right now, though. I bet you somebody's looking at him.
Yeah, absolutely.
Spiders or somebody is like, hey, yeah.
I agree. Because whoever fills in their shoes will have the spotlight on them. All right, next bit of news, and then we will get into. Oh, sorry, wait, we got a couple more pieces of news. My page was cut off, so I was like, oh, is that really it? It is not. Fret not. All right, so next we get into PlayStation and Discord. This is pretty significant here because Xbox was reported to be maybe making a $10 billion purchase of the company. Then Discord reportedly said, we want to go independent, which I think was the smart call. And then about a week or so later now, we get this post on SIE.com, which says, at PlayStation, we're constantly looking for ways to enable players around the world to connect with one another, form new friendships and communities, and share fun experiences and lasting memories. It's in this spirit that we're excited to announce a new partnership with Discord, the communication service popularized by gamers and used by more than 140 million people every month around the world. Together, our teams are already hard at work connecting Discord with your social and gaming experience on PlayStation Network. Our goal is to bring Discord and PlayStation experiences closer together on console and mobile starting early next year, so 2022, allowing friends, groups, and communities to hang out, have fun, and communicate more easily while playing games together. To bring these experiences to life for our players, Sony Interactive Entertainment has made a minority investment as part of Discord's Series H round. From our very first conversation with co-founders Jason Citrin and Stan Wisniewski, I was inspired by their lifelong love for gaming and our team's shared passion to help bring friends and communities together in new ways, empowering players to create communities and enjoy shared gaming experiences at the heart of what we do. So we are beyond excited to start this journey with one of the world's most popular communication services. It's always a privilege to work with the great partners to bring fresh experiences to our fans, and we'll have more to share in the coming months. Stay tuned to our channels and Discord for the latest updates. So looks like Discord app is coming to PlayStation, or rather, not looks like, it is coming. And this is pretty significant because I recall that PlayStation removed like their communities section from PS4 into PS5, and that was something that a lot of people wondered about. Dustin, I want to know, do you think this is maybe because they were planning something with Discord this whole time? Which the reason I wonder about that is because if they were getting ready to sell to Microsoft, was this just a good fill-in for PlayStation because it's taking a year for them to do this? So maybe it was just good timing and a good observation. But what do you make of all this as the certified PlayStation guy here?
Well, I don't know. Maybe it was just phrasing, but I wouldn't say that Discord was ever getting ready to sell to Microsoft. They were in conversations, but business conversations happen all the time.
Yes.
No, you're good. You're good.
Please keep me on my toes.
Some people do think that. Some people do think that they were like, what happened? And it's honestly, I mean, my perspective is that Microsoft probably, was there a number that was leaked about how much Microsoft offered them?
I think it was $10 billion. $10 billion was what
I'm guessing Discord. Yeah, I'm guessing they saw that and they were like, no. Like,
that's a lot of money to turn down. I guess they think they can get more, right? That's the assumption. Yeah, like that's what I think. And I'm like, man, there must be deals that I just am not thinking of right now beyond gaming.
I think Discord is potentially just in its infancy right now as far as how big it's going to get. Because now I saw this the other day. My friend was telling me that they're kind of shifting their marketing to be less just gaming focused. And I've heard of numerous examples of Discord being used outside of gaming. Schools using Discord, businesses using Discord. They have a great communication platform that goes beyond just text and chat. But I mean, we're using this to record our show, Discord right now. And obviously there's a high level of integration and customization with Discord. And really, I could see them in the next few years becoming a major competitor to even Slack. So I am not surprised that they think that they're worth a lot more than $10 billion. So was this planned from a long time ago? My gut says not likely. To me, the PlayStation 5's feature set is lacking and didn't have communities, and they probably just didn't see very many engagement with communities on PS4. So that's why they didn't bring it over to PS5, and they just weren't gonna, they're cutting it off on PS4 as well. But no, I'm really happy about this because Discord, what their strength should be is the fact that they're available on as many platforms as possible. I'd love to see Discord be on Xbox as well and Switch. Bring it to everything. Having one universal communication platform for all platforms is fucking awesome. And that's why I'm so happy that Microsoft didn't buy them. I wouldn't want Sony to buy them either. I want them to remain independent and continue to do what they do best without being, attached to the hip by a platform. So,
yeah, I agree entirely. Very well said. I'm glad that they're remaining independent as well. I think that's the best way for getting everyone to work together is if one place solely doesn't own them. I get why Microsoft would go and try to get them because they just like to, make everything their own little tool and fuck around with it. But yeah, I think overall this is a really wise move by PlayStation. Now, I wanted to ask more questions about this Discord app on Xbox, and I should have actually thought to just download it and look myself. So can you Karak had said you can download a Discord app on Xbox, correct? And
no, Edge.
On Edge.
No, the Edge browser, the Edge browser that's in the testing ring for Xbox does about 50% of Discord's so far. That's all.
Okay. So you couldn't say
which is why most people are assuming Discord will be working faster on Xbox than it will be on PS5. Because most likely if they want a competitor, they'll go through Edge. And the reason why Edge is because it's a browser and therefore compatibility is not required for an app. Different things. It's just the browser, which Microsoft already controls. And Microsoft now, with the deal that they have with Rainway to get like low latency stuff, the idea is that most likely they'll try to tie everything into the browser. And so, if you are on the tablet, Discord just works inside your browser on Edge. If you're on your Xbox, works on Edge. I don't want to only care that Microsoft, if they go this route, they crater their own voice systems. If Sony goes this route, crater your own voice systems. Developers already will have to figure out how to get everything to work together. I do not want two voice systems on a platform. That makes no fucking sense. It's what we deal with. By the way, in a weird way, it's what we're already dealing with right now with PC and a console with Discord. So it's like you have your PSN and then you have your Discord on PC or what have you, and you have to decide who you're gonna talk to. I don't want the same thing happening on the consoles. I want the consoles to crater their shit. If they're gonna go with Discord, I have no issues with that. Other than Discord does have a ton of privacy problems, and Discord servers suck giant flaccid penis. Oh. Discord has consistently lost signal in the last couple months, and there were people bringing that up, saying they need to make sure that they've figured out a way to keep their servers up, because if their servers die, that is one completely separate company, completely separately, that will be tied into an OS, completely separately from the main company, which hasn't really happened before.
Well, isn't that why you'd want...
If you're...
Sorry, I was cutting you off. Keep going.
What were you going to say?
Oh, no, I was just going to say, what I was thinking was, this is probably why you wouldn't want them to crater their own chat services, because let's say Discord does go down, or God forbid there's something that goes horribly wrong, that shuts down chat across what you would imagine is all of gaming, yeah?
Right, but leave them both up. Can you imagine the difficulty of understanding which one you're trying to even do?
Yeah, I just think
the amount of... There'd be how many volume sliders? There's already 2 volume sliders, 3 on the Xbox. Controller. No, there's 2. Controller. No, there's 3. Sidebanding and in the main volume. Then you have like a Discord volume. You've got your PC volume. You've got your browser volume. Like, dude, no. It's a console. It's exactly the opposite of what I want. I want Sony to say, we're backing Discord 100%. And we already know, because of people we've talked to. We were on a podcast with somebody who basically stated they know for sure that Discord is going to business. We had a visitor on here.
Yeah.
And by the way, that's open now and out, so it's not like secret data. But we were told a long time ago that's the plan. So I'm happy for this, as long as we don't have 2. Which would be 4 if I had an Xbox with 2 and a PS4 with 2. I just want 1. I want to be able to go, Matty is somewhere in the world, and I don't give a fuck what platform he's on.
Oh.
Make sense? Like, that's what I want.
Yeah.
So that's my hopes. Cross my fingers.
Crossing everything, including our giant
stream.
Flaccid
Sorry, one last
penises.
thing.
Oh, go on.
Discord, yeah. Discord lets you stream to your own Discord, and all that stuff. No, we got it. Yeah, but we need to make sure that that's the tag, giant flaccid penis.
That's
but
fine.
I think it would be awesome.
Don't click that on Twitter.
Don't. Yeah. If we could, I want to be able to stream to the groups too. Like, I love Discord streaming service. I don't use it as much as I should, but the ability for me to stream a game inside of a group. They've got their new chat thing that they're doing, which is like Clubhouse and Twitter's Fleet thing or whatever. They've got the new chat Discord thing that they've got. They just added them, groups where you can basically control who can talk. There's a lot of cool stuff you can do in there. So I hope it all gets
pulled together. All right. We now have more news to go over, such as Lost Judgment got revealed today, Friday, May 7th. on what they're calling Judgment Day, which I kind of like that. So I never played the first Judgment, so I apologize if certain things that are, I don't know, in the game are exciting to me, but I did plan on playing it this summer. So Sega announced this, and one thing that they confirmed alongside it, by the way, that is noteworthy entirely, is that Yakuza will continue as a turn-based franchise, whereas Judgment will be the action franchise. I don't know how I feel about that entirely, but I have to play Judgment 1 to get into that a little bit more, because I don't know. I also need to play Like a Dragon, which I have on my shelf, because I don't know if Like a Dragon's turn-based combat is good enough to be the future of that series, especially when I really liked the beat-em-up combat from the original games. Anyway, Lost Judgment, Yakuza series executive director Toshiro Nagoshi said, will expand Yagami's story as he deals with the fallout from a guilty verdict handed down in Japanese court. According to Yagami's Japanese voice actor, Takuya Kimura, not only will the game's main character contend with a grim murder, he'll also have to go undercover at a local high school, which will allow for a variety of storytelling elements, including comedy, which I think actually can present something kind of interesting, because you saw him skateboarding, walking the dog. It says they're getting combat upgrades, so they're actually going to have multiple fighting styles. Crane, Tiger, and now Snake is the new one. Investigations are improving. Yagami will have new stealth and traversal options when looking for clues. So they showed wall running. They showed grabbing of pipes. They also showed that he can dance now. There will be school stories and side missions. This game looks amazing. I feel like a fool for sitting out for so long on the first one. But I want to know, Karak, as someone I do know you've played this game, how excited are you for the sequel?
I'm super excited for a sequel. I'm not excited for the Switch. The
gameplay Switch. Yeah,
all.
I agree. I don't know how
I hate the idea of that.
I think it's too rash. I think it's too quick.
We're technically like a cop in Judgment, so they're going to let you run around beating up schoolgirls willy-nilly with not in turn-based, but in Yakuza, which is a crime-based game, they're going to have you go turn-based. It doesn't. I have to see the games, but I thought it was fun, but not nearly as good as Yakuza's real-time stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I like the real-time stuff. Turn-based is good. It's just, dude, like Yakuza to me means over the top. I mean, that's what meant for. And again, I got into it late. Maybe other people who played it for a long time are bored of it.
I think that could be it.
Maybe
because it used to be a PS2 series, yeah, and PS3. So,
dude, yeah, that's
been around for a while. Right? It really picked up popularity now for many folks.
Judgment,
started with Kwame.
I don't know. Started with Kwame. I also don't know how Yakuza's crazy, over the top, real time, crotch over a fucking light pole to hit you in the nuts kind of battle works in Judgment over time, because it's not going to be as crazy. Do you get my drift? Like some of those moves are going to saddle away from the nuts that we saw in Yakuza, and that to me is the juice of Yakuza. That's I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm really not excited about that Switch.
Yeah, I'm not either. Maybe I'll feel a little different when I play it, but just because I think they have a proven formula where I remember they said they were going to wait and see, and maybe Like a Dragon did way better as a turn-based game.
Did insanely well. From what I understand, it also did insanely well, like sales-wise.
Yeah. And so that could be it. And if they could do more where they could, because a lot of people, no, because it's a pretty heavily animated game, so I doubt it. But I was just thinking, turn-based usually allows a lot of companies to do
multiple characters,
more, multiple characters, choices, stuff like that. It's kind of synonymous with that type of design. So maybe that's where they can take it, where it will develop more of a story and design DNA than what we're imagining now based off what we know. We're just Like a Dragon was an experiment, but I don't know, just like Kiryu was all beat 'em up, maybe this new protagonist is going to be all turn-based, and that's the philosophy behind it. I'm not quite sure. Dustin, I don't know if you've played any Judgment. I'm pretty sure you haven't, but are you interested in that, and did you like what you saw, if anything at all, on Lost Judgment, the sequel?
It looks interesting, but no, I actually didn't even see the full trailer. I just saw that it got announced I saw. I guess one thing we haven't mentioned is that Judgment has now been re-released, a PlayStation 5 version of it, or is it PS5 and Series X?
And Series
both?
X. Yep.
Okay, good.
It's enhanced. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. So that's out there if you want to check it out. That's definitely what I would play.
My favorite Yakuza game too.
Oh, Judgment is your favorite?
Yeah, It is. Yeah, Judgment I think is legitimately better than Yakuza, and I loved Yakuza, but Judgment is perfectly paced, like Dustin. Like none of the, I mean, there's filler, but not near as much as some of the Yakuza games can get, and it's just good. I mean, it was like a good story, not as crazy, obviously, but
dude, what was the weird thing that comes to mind with me for this game is that when I was at E3, I remember walking by the Sega booth, and the actor that plays that guy, the main character in Judgment, was there. And it's like one of those things where he looks just like he does in the game, only it's real life. So it was like really freaky. And if I remember too, he speaks like perfect English as well. So it was, and I think when I played the game, is it all in Japanese?
No, that actually had a dub.
No, that one's got a dub. Sorry, dub. Yeah.
Okay, maybe not. Maybe I'm confusing. I remember there was something about it that was like, "Whoa, I was not expecting you to speak perfect English," but maybe not. Maybe I'm confused. But either way, I saw him in person. It was a weird, since he's a video game character, or was to me. But do you guys remember how the one character in that game got busted for cocaine?
Yeah,
in
the
Japan?
Japanese actor for the main character, I thought it was.
Yeah.
So like
that's why there's no karaoke, by the way.
Oh, interesting.
There's no because he's gone. They didn't have enough money to pay the guy to re-sing all the songs. So that part of the game is missing.
Well,
sorry, you were going to say something though.
I was going to say the thing though is if you have the first print of the game in Japan, it's out there. That's the only way you could play it, is an unpatched first print. They were able to take it out before the English version came out. So that's always interesting to me that there's those copies, those rare first print copies that have it. So
yeah,
weird to you guys. However, I'm sorry.
No, I was just gonna say, I wonder if as a collector, I wonder if that's something that actually goes up in price. Because I wonder the same thing with Cyberpunk, and I know it sounds crazy, but like I wonder if just unpatched Cyberpunk games are like in physically printed like PlayStation Cyberpunk games, like if they're going to be worth something because they took it off the digital storefront. It's the only way you can get it, and if one day they fix everything, I think about that sometimes, if it's going to just go up a little bit, like a definitive version kind of idea. But sorry, I cut you off now. What were you going to say?
No fucking clue what I was going to say.
Well, fuck.
But it doesn't matter. Good games. See it. Oh, I was going to say it's weird how each nation has their own thing. The Japanese have a thing against drug use that is completely considered pedestrian in America. Dude, I'd snort cocaine off a prostitute's butt, and a cop would be like, dude, haha, don't do it again. Get back home. And in Japan, they're like, you're out. You're out. And then Europe is big on violence, where we show violence. So it's so crazy how each nation, and then Australia just is like, fuck you. You can't do anything. You can't even ship goldfish to us.
You just have to survive. That's it.
You just have to survive. Yeah. Your game, baby, you've been playing since the moment you got here. Good job. By the way, there is a jump button. You can only jump as high as you really can in real life. Enjoy. Yeah. Australia's sort of fucked. And here's shitty internet. Sorry, if anybody's in Australia, I'm dissing on your place. But seriously, you're fucked, man. Get in a boat. Come over here. You can stay at my place. Yeah. What were you going to say?
Speaking of the different cultural things, I went to Paris because my uncle was living there for a bit when I was in second grade.
Wow.
And I remember being like, whoa, there's titties everywhere out here all the time.
Holy shit.
This was I was in second grade, and I was like,
fuck.
What's going on? There's a girl on this magazine that's out in the public everywhere. It's one single titty out.
Wow.
And dude, even like you go and you'd see ads.
Early awakening.
Well, wow. I mean, maybe. I remember but like the casualness of the nudity there was way culturally different than here. So
yeah, but I'm sure
Japan, their handling of nudity is different. which is why we have the weird, pornography and censorship that they
Dude,
have.
There's a documentary on Netflix. I can't remember what it's called, but it's all about Japanese idol culture and how there's like men that are like all the way from like late 20s to 60s older that become obsessed with these teenage girls and it like idols, and they have their own dude, it is fucked. Let me tell you, like it's one of those things where it's like we don't want to be judgmental of other cultures, but this is like some weird,
I had a look on my face
stuff.
where I was getting judgmental, and I saw myself in the Discord, and I was like, knock it off. Every nation's got their
I don't think
things.
we're being judgmental. It's just like, I think you guys were sharing stories. Oh,
well,
I don't care. Yeah,
at that point, because I was like, that's so gross or weird. But then I'm like, yeah, no, I get you. I get you.
Maybe it's something we don't
nowadays. You really do.
Maybe it's something we don't understand. Like there's parts in the documentary where like men will pay for a meet and greet, and like a big part of the meet and greet is being able to like do this extended handshake. And I'm like, are these dudes like they do the handshake with this 14-year-old and they're just like rocking a full erection? Like what is the motivation here? It's weird, dude. It's
reflected in their games. It's certainly, it's reflected in, we talk about Eurojank. Development's different, where like maybe QA for something is different depending on what nation you're in, and the levels of expectations for like how software gets made and all that kind of, it's different for each nation. It's actually, that's why I'm so happy gaming, you can get everything, because I grew up in territory restricted shit. Japanese stuff wouldn't play. Like how many times I had a fake Sega Saturn, or not fake, but I had a Japanese Sega Saturn and a European Sega Saturn because they wouldn't play American Sega Saturn games, stuff like that. So it's cool that I think now everything's region unlocked, right? PS4, you just made a account. Even the Vita, look at that. Switch. Oh, wait a minute. Switch is not actually. Now that I think about it, I'm pretty sure Switch is Switch?
I don't know. I don't import many games. I know it's not the only thing it's about, but I don't import many games. The reason the Vita was significant to me is because when my girlfriend got me the Persona 4 dancing Vita, I was like, well,
that's why I actually mentioned this, because Dustin had something, but that was Vita, not Switch. No. I forgot. I thought he had a Switch.
Keep the Vitas close. It's like blending in here.
The TV and two Vitas.
Two Vitas.
Was that the Vita, the slim one? Was that the one that you were saying, like, should I just buy this thing because I feel like it's going to, like, I need another one? Didn't you say on the show, like, you wanted one just because?
Ellen me.
Yeah.
Because he and I were doing the podcast.
I think you said, like, you felt you needed another one just in case. Like,
this is from Japan.
Oh.
Maddie, I didn't tell you about this.
Oh.
Sorry for the listeners. I really quickly got to tell you, Maddie, though. A listener of Sacred Symbols from Japan offered to help me acquire this.
It's beautiful.
And I paid him for it. I paid for shipping, all that, but got me this $120 for a Blue Vita.
That's a great price.
He helped me get the Japanese Persona 3 and 5 dancing that are only available physically in Japan. You can't play them in English, but I'm glad I have them. They're cool to have. And Danganronpa V3, just because that's hard to get. It's cool to have the Japanese copy.
Fuck yeah.
Anyway.
That's awesome.
We're nerds, Maddie.
Indeed.
But it's okay.
Lost Judgment coming out September 24th this year. All right. One more bit of news. Just a little update on what's going on with Final Fantasy Intergrade. One of the stranger names. And it also leads into what's going on, of course, with the sequel. So pretty much we got some new information on this, and it's been kind of spotty on how it's being described because people are still kind of confused on what it is. And what's great about this news is that now we're starting to understand there's a part 1, there's a part 2. So let's start off with Intergrade itself, which is, once again, for those who don't know, arriving June 10th. It's been confirmed it's a timed PS5 exclusive, and that'll be for at least half a year, according to the end of a trailer. So it follows Yuffie, and it will the original Final Fantasy game didn't catch up with 2 until after Cloud leaves Midgar, which They've confirmed now that after Intergrade ends, that is where Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2 will pick up. The trailer shows a new minigame. It's an auto chess style battler based on Fort Condor. There's also new story details where we see Yuffie and Sonon infiltrating Shinra. There's a lot of combat in this trailer. Toward the end of the trailer, reveals a new mysterious character, Nero, who wears the face mask and devilish wings of the antagonist from Dirge of Cerberus. So a lot of interesting stuff happening here, and I'll grab the other section, which talks more about Final Fantasy VII Remake's second part. But for the Intergrade side of things with Yuffie and the new mini games and sort of what's being offered here, I just want to get a gauge of where both of you sit on this one, because I'm excited. I liked Final Fantasy VII Remake a lot. I thought it was a really strong game. I think they are teetering on the edge of Kingdom Hearts territory now, bringing in Dirge of Cerberus, and we're seeing Crisis Core elements, and we see, of course, the original game. So I'm a little worried about all of that. I will air that, but I think they did really well with the first part outside of those side quests. And the combat at times can feel a little sticky, would be the right definition, I think. But what do you gents make of this and some of the light new details we got as I get the part 2 stuff ready? Whoever would like to go first.
Go ahead, Dustin, because I understood maybe 3 words that he said that entire fucking time. I don't even know what Intergrade is. I don't even know what he's talking about right now. Are we talking about Final Fantasy VII Part 2 or a completely different thing?
So
and is it called Intergrade now?
Intergrade is the expansion / DLC, which is coming with the re-release on PlayStation 5 of Final Fantasy VII Remake. So it's separate, and you play as Yuffie and her friend Sonon. And it's a whole little story with new mechanics and whatnot.
That's all on you. I don't even know the names he's fucking talking about. I forgot everything about Final Fantasy VII. Except for No Jump.
Oh.
Yeah.
I can't even remember the names.
Wow.
That's sorry. Go ahead, Dustin. You go for it, girl.
I am excited for the Yuffie DLC. I won't be playing the game again just because I recently replayed through the whole game again for the Sacred Symbols spoiler cast. The updates sound nice. And
what are they?
It's like 60 FPS, higher resolution, stuff like that.
Okay.
The standard PS5 upgrade treatment.
Gotcha.
I think the Yuffie DLC is that $20, right? Matty?
Let me get the exact price, but yes, that is I want to say yes for now, but let me just get that for you.
If you buy the PS5 version just on disc, it automatically comes with it.
Yes.
That's where it gets confusing. They gave it away. Wait, here, we'll clear this up crystal clear for the audience. If you bought the game digitally or on disc,
$20
when it came out, whenever, you get the Intergrade upgrade for free, but not the Yuffie DLC. If you got the game on PlayStation Plus, no upgrade.
I remember this shit.
Right.
Now I remember this.
It's pretty fucking dumb. I'm going to be honest.
That's pretty fucking dumb. Yeah.
Here's my question. Will people that have the PS Plus version be able to upgrade in any way? Can they pay to upgrade? To me, it always made sense that maybe a good middle ground would be if you have the PS Plus version, if you buy the Yuffie DLC, then you get the upgrade. That seems, it's $20. You're paying for the DLC. Throw you a bone. Here's the upgrade. But then you would have to have some kind of technical level in the back end of PlayStation that I just don't think is possible. So
it's a mess. I think we talked about this because I'm pretty sure that question you asked when that was first shown at whatever event this was shown at, I'm almost sure we all sat and that question popped up.
Right.
Would a person who had the PSN version do the actual upgrade?
Okay, so it's really interesting. This comes from Game Rant. One final thing Square Enix revealed is that owners of Final Fantasy VII Remake on PlayStation 4, not including those who received the game through PlayStation Plus last month, will be able to upgrade to PlayStation 5 version of the game for free when it launches June 10th. Though the intermission DLC will need to be purchased separately for $20. So
okay,
no
that's
matter
fine.
who you are, unless you are just buying the new PS5 version physically, I believe that has it. But otherwise, the DLC, is going to be $20. Pretty.
And the DLC upgrades is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Or you're not saying that.
Yeah, you can't upgrade for free if you got it through PS Plus. It's really weird because here's the thing: is I know if we're sitting here trying to parse through this and pick it apart and figure it out, then a lot of people are going to be confused. Not because we're egotistical, but because if we're fucking confused and this is our jobs, then there are people who are like, what's going on, right? Like it's baffling. It just sometimes you feel like these companies should just
Intergrade?
Eat the cost. Yeah, it's called Intergrade.
Oh yeah, of course. No, I don't think we sometimes think that. I think we always think that.
Yeah.
Right? Shouldn't they? I mean, they like.
I feel like for the simplicity and the marketability of the DLC, you should just eat the cost because it makes no fucking sense at times.
Yeah.
Like, we've talked about this twice and we've had to dig both times because it's like, wait, because we obviously don't want to give our audience false information. That's why, like, when Dustin was like, is it 20? I'm like, let me double check. But there's so much overlapping of info that it's fucking confusing. Like, giving it away for free doesn't benefit you as a PR move if you're not going to be able to upgrade it and then get the DLC through that. Like, that doesn't sell more DLC. That just makes people buy the game again. And they're like, I already fucking played it. I don't need the DLC that bad. So I just think it's a really weird move by them.
Dude, Manny, this industry often has marketing level problems that make no sense. Yes. Like, this is one of them.
Troll and 505.
Yeah, dude. My favorite one is Nintendo and the DS. Like, there's Nintendo DS. It plays DS games. There's Nintendo 3DS. It plays 3DS games and DS games. Nintendo 2DS plays 3DS and DS games, but it's different even though it's 2D. It's different than the regular DS. And then there's Nintendo 3DS XL, which plays all of those games. But wait, there's more. There's new Nintendo 3DS. And then there's new Nintendo 2DS, new Nintendo 2DS XL.
Oh my God.
It's like, here's the problem. Like, and you think about that too. It's like, imagine the poor fucking grandma that goes into Walmart and wants to buy a game for her grandson or granddaughter or whatever, and is like, I know he's got one of them DSs. And the guy at the store is like,
which one?
Which one? The DS, the 2DS, the 3DS, the new
Actually
2DS,
feel worse
the
for
new
the salesman
3DS.
Because the grandmother only has that experience once. The salesman, imagine that experience 8,000 times. Do you know what if I was a salesman, I would make a spreadsheet and like ask the company if we could like post and say like what compatibility, what works with what, and be able to post that fucking thing like somewhere at Walmart.
Dude, okay, this is related but unrelated. Have you ever been in a GameStop? Maybe you're waiting in line and you can hear an employee talk to somebody and they say something that is totally wrong about a game or a product, and you're like that meme of the puppet monkey that's like, like looking around, like I've heard some just like specifically I've heard once like, do you want to? They were like talking about like Cuphead. They're like, this was years ago, so it's like, do you want to get that on Xbox or PS4? And the person I think automatically said Xbox. I'm like, well, it's a good thing they didn't want it on PlayStation because doesn't exist on PlayStation.
It's not even on there.
And I'm not asking for absolute perfection from employee. Everyone makes mistakes, but I've also heard like people describe games completely inaccurately when people are trying to look for a recommendation. I'm like, what are they talking about? If you don't know, just say you don't know. Like, that's perfectly acceptable answer. But
yeah, it reminds me of the time I was at GameStop and I was with a girl I was dating at the time, and as a joke, as a joke, this guy from GameStop, he comes up to me, and he was serious. He was just like, do you need any game recommendations? He knew what I did for a living. So part of me, if this comes across egotistical, but I imagine if I'm doing game reviews and discussions and news for a living, I have a pretty wide taste, and I think I'm familiar with the game catalog. And he comes up to me and he's just like, "Do you need help picking anything out? Do you want to do you want game recommendations?" I'm like, "Yeah." I'm thinking he knows well enough. He addresses me by name every time I'm there. He asks about the content, so he seemed invested. I'm like, sarcastic. I'm like, "Oh yeah, dude. Like, what games you got? Like, I don't know what to get." And he starts fucking listing them off, and I'm like, "Oh shit." I was like, now I'm stuck. So that's what I get for being sarcastic, but. Yeah, these employees will eat you alive, man, for just doing their job. All right. Last but not least, patron questions to wrap up the show. We got a decent amount this week. Nothing too bad. And, of course, just like every time, Discord likes to refresh. Okay, that was quick. Pen and Pant is up first. What up, H.A.M boys? What are y'all's favorite console redesign and why? My favorite is the PS2 Slim because it's so tiny. You can take it pretty much anywhere. Bonus question, are there any locations such as restaurants or stores that y'all have a nickname for? For example, I call Buffalo Wild Wings B-dubs.
I think they've incorporated that into their marketing. So it's not...
I thought that was their thing. Yeah, I always call them B-dubs.
I got a really funny one for the bonus question. I think it's funny. You guys might like roll your eyes and be like, this guy's an idiot. It comes from my...
just hear what I said about GameStop, and it was just a dead silence. I mean, come on, it can't be much worse than that.
So
what? I chuckled.
No, it was straight face. Like you would have thought I shot Karak's firstborn or something. Like he was just like, yeah.
What did you expect me to do? You were dissing on some poor worker.
Fucking gassed me up, bro.
I'm just joking. I mean, I saw the irony.
Yeah. No, I'm playing fun.
A good friend of mine, when we were in college, he's like, "Oh yeah, you want to go over to Sneaky Ron's?" What the fuck is Sneaky Ron's? He's like, McDonald's, like Ronald McDonald. He's a creepy guy. Sometimes you eat a bunch of McDonald's. It sneaks up on you.
It works.
Sneaky Ron's.
It works.
So to this day, I every once in a while I'll be like, I'll be like, tell Holly, I'm like, I'm gonna go to Sneaky Ron's today. So it's one of those things. Someone hears it, like Karak connected the dots, Sneaky Ronald McDonald, but it's obscure.
No, I almost said Burger King because Sneak King is their game.
Oh,
admitted.
True.
For just a second, I was like, oh, Burger. Oh, of course, Ron is. Dude, you can't tell me that's not a creepy ass fucking mascot, man.
The McDonald's. Burger King. Oh, with Ronald.
Both, absolutely both. Both of them are creepy as fuck, man. As a kid, shit, like they show clowns or whatever. It's like, why? They're all scary.
Yeah.
Cool. How did they ever become like mascots? I don't get it. The fucking Burger King dude is legit creepy. Did you guys see the commercials when that was a big deal?
Yeah.
When Sneak King would be like in the chick's bed, and I don't like the plastic look. There's a term for it, but there's like that plastic face look. Too creepy for me. I'm a wussy when it comes to that. We don't have any names for any of that shit. What was his first question?
Yeah, I don't have any names outside of B-dubs, but favorite console redesign and why? Mine's probably the Game Boy Advance SP.
I've never bought a console redesign.
That one for sure. That was
SP is good.
Yeah, that is
very good.
Did you know it stands for special? I thought it was like super.
That sounds
super
familiar.
Pocket, but it's Game Boy Advance Special.
I thought it was like single player.
Yeah, right? Like I thought it was all these secret terms. It's special. I thought it stood for something. It was capital S, capital P, but it's Game Boy Advance Special. And the one with the AGS 101, I think it is. That's the one with the backlit screen and looks really nice. Pearl blue color. I love that console a lot. Really good. Compared to especially the initial Game Boy Advance where you needed to have the plug-in lamp that would like have the curly wire. And
I had one, man.
I did too. I remember playing like Super Mario Advance on it and just like squinting. I'm like, what the fuck? I could barely see this shit. You had to get the right
couldn't go outside at all because it was just all fucked up light-wise. Yeah, dude, I remember that.
Yeah. So that's why to me the Game Boy Advance was SP was just fucking revolutionary. I was like, I can play outside, I can play in bed. This is incredible. Like I can game wherever I want. It was like that awakening for me. So this is my pick for sure.
I will shout out the Xbox 360 redesign. I remember getting one, and part of the plan, my dad really did me a solid because they announced it was the Xbox 360S? They did 3. I'm talking about Gen 2. This is the black one that had the touch button. Remember that? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. The slim model.
Yeah.
With the built-in hard drive instead of like having it be a clip. It was actually like in the system. Yeah.
So as with many, I was a sufferer of the red ring. And so Microsoft did fix it, which was great, but it didn't mean anything long term. And so when they announced the redesign, my dad was like, hey, let's go trade in your Xbox. And if you got any games, that'd be great. And I'll just cover the rest so you don't have to deal with this thing failing on you again. I was like, thank you. It was so great. I was happy.
I got mine late enough to avoid that, fortunately, but
right. Dude, I gotta say, my least favorite console redesign that comes to mind, I hate the PlayStation 4 Slim. I hate it. And I hate the look of the PS4 Pro. They both look like shitty pancake flabs stacked. I just hate them, dude. The original PS4 design was so much better. Also, now I just thought of the original Xbox One. Dude, Xbox One S, that is a great redesign. But it's also coming from one of the worst looking consoles ever.
I'm excited. I can guarantee the PlayStation 5 redesign, it could be a hunking pile of shit, and I'd be hyped for it because that will be the greatest console redesign of all time because I hate the base PS5. I hate how shit looks.
So wait, Maddie, unnecessary comparison time. Base PS5 versus base Xbox One.
Oh, for Christ's sakes, for me, that's base PS5 is way worse.
Yeah,
really?
I think base Xbox One is better than the base PS5. Yeah, at least the Xbox is a box. Maybe I'm just traditional, but it's this PS5, man.
PS5 is legit the worst fucking design I've ever seen. And by the way, I don't buy any console redesigns. I will get one most likely for the PS5. This thing is a fucking monstrosity. My wife made me buy those stickers to get the white to go away. She's like, this is the fucking ugliest box I've ever... And I have shit. I have Skylanders and fucking wires. And my wife would pick out the PS5 and be like, smash that. My wife doesn't even... She's not even like that. It's just, dude, it looks like it's going places it shouldn't go. It always looks like it's getting up and ready to run off to like Crown of Sauron. It's like half... It's fucking like this... it's so confusing. It's just confusing to look at. I hate it.
I think I can respect disliking the PS5. That's fine. I'm kind of mixed on it. Sometimes I think it looks good. Sometimes I think it looks bad. But saying that it's worse than the Xbox One, that's crazy to me.
Xbox One's just a rectangle, so I'm okay with it.
Dude, it so fucking boring.
Or what do you call it?
It's a chunky hunk of plastic. I hate it. When I see the original Xbox One, it enrages me. And here's the thing. My counterpoint. Okay. I would rather something be ugly and outrageous than ugly and boring. Personally.
You must like that episode SpongeBob where he's like, I'm ugly and I'm proud. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh. No.
No? Do you not? Am I the only?
He's batting 0 for 100, man.
Yeah, this has been a fucking rough episode, man. I just can't get a reference caught. I just can't. It's been tough out here.
He's like, do you guys even know? Okay, let's talk about the Oilers. I'm like, dude, I've never seen baseball. It's like, oh, fuck it. Whatever. I quit. Oh, shit. See? Dude, Oilers to me is football, by the way. Dude, that's that fucking big. It's the size of your penis, fully erect. It's only that big. I can barely see it. Here we go.
Meanwhile, I'm trying to buy. Why can't I find on my phone? I'm going to search while we do this. I'm trying to find Baldur's Gate. I want to have that shit downloaded when I come home. Here it is.
I think with the Xbox.
Manny, no plat. The trophy list is fucked on that. And I don't even care about that.
No, wait, really?
Dude, Colin posted it during the show. It's like a trophy for beating it on each difficulty. And then there's some kind of like challenge mission or something. That's it. There's like 5 trophies, no platinum. I don't, like I said.
Why does that bother? Does that bother people?
That's such a fucking kick
What's
to the
problem
balls.
with
That
that?
sucks.
It doesn't bother me.
What would you want it to have?
I wanted to have a nice trophy list.
Oh, sorry, Dustin, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, it doesn't matter to me. Like, a bad trophy list is not going to stop me, especially now that I'm kind of completely out of the trophy game. But for some people, this will hurt their sales. For certain
Sorry,
people.
what I meant to ask was, what's wrong with? I don't understand what's wrong with that trophy list. What should it be? Only one
like
playthrough?
Level 5.
Is that what you mean?
10. Collect this rare item, beat this boss. Do this in the playthrough.
Telling me you fucking want it?
100%. Give me a
what?
It's charging me $30. Give me a full.
Want it to
list.
fucking basically just say what?
Dude, look.
So level 5, don't you already get told you're level 5 in the game? Why would you need a trophy to say you're level 5 again?
Because it's
my God.
It's marked in history now. It's a part of my account. It's mine to own. I love it. I love that shit. I'm still gonna fucking buy it.
So wait a minute. No, that's okay because you want to beat it. Wouldn't that make you want to play it again if it's got a trophy at the end of each difficulty? Or are you saying that doesn't work?
I want the carrot at the end of the stick, right? I need a little. I want more. Like that's what this whole game's about. If you can give me another carrot, then it's double the carrots.
What's farther away than the end of the game? Isn't that a carrot?
But don't you want a carrot in the middle?
If you have to beat
a baby carrot, if you will. Take a little.
This is the problem with carrots.
That's true.
We just proved, dude. I have fucking no clue what we're even talking about. Like, I don't even think this way. I thought you were gonna say it was good because for beating the game. What you're saying is you don't want one. You want ones for those too, though, right?
Well, okay.
Is that what you're saying?
I should specify this. If there was a platinum, it would be a little more redeemable. But to have just a trophy list in 2021 is kind of ridiculous. That's so rare that. I don't remember the last game that we actually seen do that, where it's just like, here's the trophy list. And I guess the other thing is these games aren't short. There's stuff that happens, and there's stuff that you can discover.
True that.
So it's like,
so would you want something that's like
Republic Commando
level 20
could have a platinum,
warrior?
Then yeah, exactly, because there's multiple classes. Like if Republic Commando could have a platinum,
yeah, okay.
Then why the fuck doesn't this? I don't know. That's weird.
They didn't ask. That's apparently part of it. Is they probably didn't ask for a platinum, so they didn't get one.
Right. Yeah, probably.
Silly.
I'll throw this in my review because I'll be like one of 5 people reviewing it. Ina is writing in next. Howdy, boys. Longtime listener, new patron member. Welcome. Thank you so much for supporting. All of you can, by the way. And we get a lot of questions about this. If you want to support, ask questions, go to my Patreon, sign up. That's what's tied to this show. I had a question for all of you. As of recent, old Bobby Boy from Activision got his pay cut in half. Do you guys think this will be a trend in which we will see more of shareholders holding executives accountable for outraged wages they are currently on, particularly in the West, i.e. Andrew Wilson? And will we see more salary cuts for mostly useless executives? Love you all. So yeah, we saw
useless executive
Bobby Kotick got his pay cut in half. I don't know if he's useless, right? Because he's useless to us because we don't fucking care. But he's making them a lot of money. But he did get his pay cut in half.
I think he chose to do that.
I was going to say, I don't think this was a reactionary, like, you're an asshole, we're cutting your pay. I'm pretty sure it was like a choice. And I really think based off...
Was a choice.
I think based off bonuses he's getting, he's making a lot of money anyway. Where if he retired tomorrow, he'd be fine. Like, it doesn't matter. So, not to shit on your question, Ina. I know it's your first time writing in. Just wanted to say, though, that... sadly, this is not a humbling act in the shareholders being like, we're going to put this guy down a peg.
I know. No, and you're right. There's probably some other thing written into the contract too, right?
100%.
That like all that money's, bonused in some way. Like we've seen that, It's like you can get $100 today or $1 for 100 days. And Bobby's like, okay.
Let me put this into some perspective. At least I want to know what you guys think about this, because I understand it's so easy to hate executives and basically people that make a lot of money. That's the thing. Like if you make a lot of money, then that's bad. For some reason, making a lot of money is bad. It's associated with like thievery, which it's like, here's the thing for Activision. Activision has the best selling game every fucking year over and over. And Bobby Kotick has been at the helm leading the ship for the best-selling game every year. So clearly he's doing something right, and his leadership is insanely valuable for a company that makes billions of dollars off their product. So, yeah, he's going to get paid a lot of money because he does a good job in making their shareholders lots of money.
Yeah.
Where's the mystery here? I don't see it. I don't get it. I'm not trying to be mean to the, I just don't understand. Like, successful people are valuable. They make a lot of people a lot of money. Therefore, they get paid a lot.
Yeah.
Well, 1991. One of the longest CEOs in history as of right now. Bobby is. Also, I'll add that I think people are misconstruing what's actually going on. None of that money is going to workers.
Mm-hmm.
So the 50% being cut from him is not magically being sent to QA. Or will it increase? Most likely, looking at the amount of money and the amount of employees they have, will it cause, around the world pay raises? So it is, it's cool that he did it. That's pretty much all I have to say. I would agree. I think for the most part, I think CEOs are overpaid. Probably something that takes a long time to figure out. But I don't necessarily. I'm not going to laud somebody. Like, I don't just randomly saying this company is going to be worth less to work for isn't probably the way I want to do it, because obviously, like Dustin said, Bobby apparently must be very, very good because that company has done very, very well. So you do have to look at that. And again, I think it's cool. He might be of the age where he's like, fuck it. Like, he might be. I'm not saying it's for sure, but he might be of the age where he's like, fuck it.
I said in my CD Projekt Red Cyberpunk video about when the board of directors openly took $28 million to split amongst 5 people while they divided about the same amount amongst 800 people. And I'm not of the mindset where these people who are running the company shouldn't get their payday. But when you have openly come out and said we're supposed to be held accountable and we are responsible for forcing this game out, and then you pocket $28 million combined between 5 of you, that's when I start to have a bit of an issue, because I think you cannot call for yourself to be accountable and hold yourself accountable and then take that money when you are the reason, and you have said that yourself, we are the reason this game came out in a broken state. Where in the case of Bobby, I think he's kind of got bad taste. Like I've gotten pissed on this show before about the gift cards. Like, I think that's the most ludicrous thing I've seen in a really long time in this industry. Like, in terms of employee and executive treatment, just something on a whole other level of like thoughtlessness. But he's gonna get his money because he's running his company well. It's that simple.
I guess my last thought on this, as far as like, are executives overpaid? To me, it just seems like there's a market. There's a dollar amount on successful CEOs. He's paid that much because they want to keep him there, because he knows that on the marketplace of other places he could go, other people might be willing to spend that top dollar on having his talent in their company. So to me, that's just the market speaking. If he's super, super well paid, it's because they want to keep him there, and he could potentially go somewhere else and make a lot of money. I don't know. I noticed this trend over and over with Bobby Kotick, and that was a weird thing for me to raise this up while I did it. I was like thinking, and then I ripped out my
you and I are on an hourly
headphones
cycle
at the same time.
We switch every hour.
But it was just a weird thing to see so many people hate on people just for making money. I don't know. I'm probably going to get hate in the comments for defending this, but I don't know. I'd love for someone to change my perspective on it.
Dude, I don't think it needs to be changed. I think that's just currently the zeitgeist, which is that we laud people for trying, but we don't want them to do well when they do try. And that's the honest, like, that is the way we celebrate the underdog story continually. Because if there's an underdog story, to get to that point, you're the underdog until you win, and then suddenly now you're the overdog, whatever the term may be. And we don't like that. We absolutely don't. Even though we celebrate it everywhere, personal coaches, it's like all these kind of things companies that do well, we want the best superstar, we want them to get paid well, and then the moment they do, we're like, well, now we don't.
Right.
Now that is absolutely a Western ideal, by the way. That is not actually mimicked in multiple other cultures, but that is currently our culture. And I agree with anybody who's saying scales are vastly fucked. They are. But the two things can also be discussed. Absolutely. Like, you can discuss those and say, all right, this guy's getting paid too much, but we don't want to destroy him. And these guys are not getting paid enough. But what I hate when they're like, oh man, we want to destroy this guy. And then you're like, okay, does the money go to the workers? No, that just actually goes back into the company. And you're like, I think what this question, though, I just want to point out to the person who asked it, he may be asking it because I believe Activision just shuttered a couple companies in the last 6 months. And what does happen, I've noticed, is when those kind of things happen, then you do get that, like, well, why are they getting paid so much for one person? And, but then that speaks to they do because they have been judged. So we want to be socialists or some fucking weird thing where we're like, what else do you do? Do you say there's a cap for what somebody can make? You could, I guess. Stories that's a lot of companies are starting to go that route where they're starting to look into caps that, like, you know, nobody can make over certain. I think those people will lose their CEOs. Like at that point, a CEO, but okay, what, you know, some other company offering me $10 more. I'll just go to them.
First of all, Matty, are you getting weird connection issues with Karak?
I was going to say that. Me? Yeah, I was waiting for him to finish his sentence. I was going to say Karak's lagging a little bit on my end. Like you're cutting in and out a little bit. We could make out what you were saying, but you might need to, I don't know, pop in and out or something like that, just because it is like.
You want me to do that?
I would say give it a shot
right now.
Because you were pretty in and out of that last sentence.
Right.
We'll see if
that
fixes him.
Oh,
let him talk and then just drop. All right, am I back now?
Yeah, you're still a little laggy. I don't know what.
Am I?
Yeah, I don't
you switched to America Online dial-up mid-show.
Yeah, like right when we started Patron Questions. Did you start downloading something? Maybe. I know you want to play Baldur's Gate after this, but you might have to pause that.
My God, shut up! Shut your face. Verify all those. It opened up. Wait a minute. I did put up a bunch of news stories. Bobby.
Maybe
started talking about Bobby.
Oof.
Is everything shut down? Am I saying my laggy?
A little bit, yeah.
I don't know. I was gonna do a Stevie Wonder song. I'm looking here. I don't have anything downloading, so I'll just shut up. You guys answer the questions, and then whenever I want to speak, I'll raise my hand. You can tell me if I'm above 5 frames per second.
Okay. Dustin, what were you going to say?
Here we go.
Just the very last thing is that, because I know that there's some people that will probably be frustrated with me, and that's totally fine. If you want to be critical about how extremely rich people spend their money being very frivolous, totally fine with that. I guess I just get frustrated when people hate the way, like, the market, I guess. They hate the fact that people are valuable because they're very skilled. That's the thing. Bobby, if you hate his yachts or his mansions or whatever, or how, you know, he spends it, whatever, that's fine. But you can't discount the talent and the fact that he's clearly done a good job for Activision to the point that they want to pay him this much money to keep him there. So, okay, that's it. Yeah. No more Bobby Kotick.
He's also talented at being a piece of shit, but I digress. Sean Mason's up next. Hey, boys. During lunch, a group of my 7th graders play the game Would You Rather. One question that a student got me thinking about the H.A.M crew and what they would say. So, would you rather sit on a warm toilet seat or a cold toilet seat? Best, Sean M. So, this is like 2 levels of discomfort, right? You sit on cold, your ass freezes a little bit. It's not a pleasant feeling. But if you sit on a warm one, you know someone's ass cheeks were just fucking there a second ago, and everything was happening. I'm going to go with cold because that means there was time for mental separation for me. To be like, someone may have been here. This may not have been cleaned. We're assuming this is a public restroom, I'm guessing. This may not have been cleaned yet, but my ass has not been on there within the last half hour that theirs was. Where do you guys stand on this? Where do you like a warm toilet seat, Dustin?
If it's warmed by someone else's butt, then no.
Yeah.
But I know that there's some advanced like bidets and toilet seats that you can that do self-warm. And that sounds appealing.
Wow.
That sounds appealing in the winter if it's electrically warmed, but I don't need someone else's butt heat transferring onto my butt. No. So I'm going to say cold.
Okay. Karak, you have permission to speak.
Choppy?
Right
now?
You're okay right now. You're visually choppy, but we'll see.
Why? So weird. I'm recording, so you can mine too. Have cold, I guess. I don't know.
Okay. All right. We have Lucas Nago up next. Hello, friends. First off, it's been a while since Noah was on the show, and Matty, I was wondering how he was doing. I actually talked to Noah a decent amount. He's doing well. And I want to see if we can get him on one of these weeks. That'd be fun. But I know Noah's also kind of fallen a little bit out of gaming. Like, not like he doesn't game. He's just not like the hardcore gaming host that in the first 100 episodes you knew. But yeah, Noah's been doing well, and it's really nice that you all are asking about him still to this day. It shows the strength of our heritage here on Ham Radio. Second off, as a Star Wars fan, I'm excited for the new games we're going to get. My start into gaming was watching my dad play KOTOR 1 and 2 when I was super little. What would be your dream Star Wars game and who would it be made by? I'm going to skip this part, all right? I don't need to say it again. Mine would be a game similar to Ghost Recon Wildlands, but clone commandos as your squad. It would be super fun, and they could do a lot with it. I would choose Respawn as the developer because they do great work, and they've already delved into Star Wars. Have a mediocre day, Lucas. What's a dream Star Wars game? Dustin, you're going to be going first by default, just by connection default alone until you start lagging.
This is difficult because I don't know. We kind of got it like a Dark Souls Star Wars game with Jedi Fallen Order, but it wasn't quite Soulsy enough for me. I would say. I think it's a great game. I thought it was very good. But I do like the idea of a full-on Souls Star Wars game. I always wanted a VR X-Wing game, and now we have that. And I wasn't even that into it, which is kind of sad. Not that the game's bad. It didn't really do a lot for me, but yeah, I don't know. I have to think about that some more.
Karak?
Just so you know, I looked it up, and it looks like Discord's having issues all over the world. So,
okay.
Which is funny. It's PS4,
great
PS5 owners are like, oh god, no. So I've already answered this multiple times. 1313 seemed like probably the game I wanted.
Yeah, we do get a lot of that question.
Open world, third person. Yeah, we get that question a lot, and that would be my answer. It hasn't really changed. I mean, KOTOR 3, obviously, but those guys are gone. So I would. Dude, they had the best people, right? 13 had Amy, Jesse Harlan doing the audio. Like, dude,
it had a dream team. Yeah,
that thing was going places. It had a dream team, so that would be my team.
All right. Goulden, I said. Golden Goose up next. Howdy, Matty, Karak, and Dustin. I just went back and replayed Infamous Second Son to get the platinum, and I got to say, I forgot just how much reverence Sucker Punch has for the Sly Cooper franchises. They have references all over the place, including logos, paintings of the three main characters, and even the Thievius Raccoonus. My question is, do you think there's any chance Sucker Punch could go back and revive this series? I know it's kind of hard to ask a company to go back to a franchise they have moved past, but I feel like Sucker Punch loves the series enough to go back. Thanks, and can't wait to see more Matty 2.0 videos. So yeah, this was a pretty big topic for me. I did a 25-minute breakdown of the life and death of Sly Cooper. It's a video I'm really proud of, and if anyone's listening has yet to check it out, I strongly encourage you to do so. It's a video that I'm very confident you will enjoy, no matter what kind of Matty fan you are. But yeah, I said in this video that with the success of Ghost of Tsushima, and now they're making a movie around it, that it's going to hit levels of success that I don't think Sucker Punch really ever knew was possible. And I think while they didn't leave the job undone. They made 3 Sly Cooper games. They're 3 phenomenal Sly Cooper games. I just think that Sly Cooper is good enough to continue. But I don't think Sucker Punch needs to be the one who continues it. I think they're doing a really great job. I think Ghost of Tsushima was phenomenal. It was a top 3 game of the year for me last year. I know a lot of people, it kind of snuck up on them because the game went really quiet for a while, and it showed Sucker Punch still has it going on. I loved it way more than Second Son. I thought Second Son was pretty underwhelming. Not a bad game, but I just thought compared to what they've done, it felt very uninspired. But I don't think Sucker Punch has to be the one to continue Sly Cooper. I just think someone should. I think the love for Ratchet and Clank is very clear. Like, it's very clear that there is a era of gamers who love that generation of mascot platformers. Ratchet's the most relevant because they've given him 2 fucking games now. I would love to see how Sly Cooper does nowadays without the technical hiccups that kind of plagued Thieves in Time. You know, the loading times, the frame rate dropped a lot. You know, I thought Zanzaro did a great job with Thieves in Time, but I'd love to see another developer pick up this series and probably reboot it at this point. It's been long enough because these games are way too good, and this series is way too good to leave behind as far as I'm concerned. But I'm very passionate on the topic, so I might be a little biased. Dustin, are you a Sly Cooper guy?
Never played Sly Cooper.
Well, fuck. You have a Vita.
I would like
to.
What are you
doing?
I know. Actually, I downloaded it on this one, so
Yes.
I may have to get to that at some point.
Recommended.
But no. Sucker Punch is never making another Sly Cooper game ever again. I'm not saying Sly Cooper's never coming back, but it's not coming back through Sucker Punch. They're like you said, Ghost of Tsushima, huge. And it's just like you don't go back to that. This discussion has happened over and over with Naughty Dog and Jack and Daxter. It's just like once you reach a certain level of prestige with more, above mascot platformers, you don't normally go back to them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's okay, because I think there are tons of really competent studios that could make fantastic Sly Cooper. In fact, the last game they didn't make, right?
Nope, it was Sanzaro. Yep.
Would you say that it was as good or not as good?
I liked it a lot. There are some flaws with it, but I liked it a lot for sure.
Yeah.
And I think that's where a lot of people stand. It was a really good game, but it had some hiccups in its story, which I think people care about less, but its tech side was a little underwhelming. But yeah, it was definitely good enough to say, like, these guys could keep making Sly Cooper games. Now they're purchased by Oculus, so PlayStation would have to find someone else to do it, which is why I'm like, they're more than likely going to do a reboot if they ever went back to it. They were making a movie and a show for it too, and they just quietly shut that down. The show was going to be I think it was 28 episode seasons, and they just pulled that off. It was animated, so you knew I was going to watch that. And then hopefully that would have led to a game. I don't know.
Yeah. So PlayStation owns that IP, right?
I would imagine.
Yeah.
That'd be a guess, though.
Yeah. Maybe at some point. I don't know. Right now, like, they have their mascot platformer. It's Ratchet.
Yeah.
They have that type of game. So I don't know.
I got to be a piece of shit and just say, if you can do Sackboy, come on. Come on.
That's true. They do have Sackboy and Ratchet right now.
If you can do Knack,
so
come on, man. Like, what the fuck? Who's running this show? What's going on? What's happening? What's
Maddie,
wrong?
What will you do if there's a Knack 3 before there's a new Sly Cooper game?
I'm okay with that, but it's just like, make it make sense, man. Like, what the hell? Why are you gonna do Knack again? I think Knack's popular probably because it's meme status. Like, they're, everyone always goes like, Borderlands and Knack. Like, they just throw it in like this bin of games where it's like you have something really good and then there's Knack, and it's like, well, Knack 2 for a lot of people was like, hey, this is surprisingly good. And I'm like, okay, well, if we can get these types of meme status games to exist in a first party level, mind you, then I feel like you could find a way to get Sly back. I think there would be, especially because, like, dude, I mean, the elements for cooperative gameplay are there, for team building, for storytelling. I mean, there's a lot of things that are kind of left open for that series that anyone could pick up. If I knew how to make a game in full in a 3D space like these people do, I would 100% be on making a Sly Cooper game. That'd be amazing. The thing that sucks is it's not popular enough, I don't think, no one's even making a spiritual successor to Sly. So
right,
we're just left to suffer.
You'll always be suffering, Maddie.
I know, right? KOTOR, Sly Cooper.
Well, I was gonna say KOTOR.
What the fuck?
You lucked out. We told you. We said never gonna happen.
Yeah, I mean,
here we are now.
I knew you were both wrong. Despite all of that, though, I can't rub it in yet until it's actually sitting there, and I could be like, "Look, the thing."
It could still get canceled.
Yeah, imagine that. That would be it.
Dude, Matty, I would feel so bad if that happened. Matty resigns from YouTube. He's done. He just posts a video. It just says, fuck it. And Matty's, the video is just him and then he leaves. Yeah. Never posts again. We never hear from Matty. 10 years from now, someone like sees him at a diner. He's got a full beard. His clothes are all ragged.
Just sipping on a coffee, just like, I remember when I covered games.
You're smoking a cigarette in a non-smoking building. Also, when you're doing that, just like
tell the waitress to fuck off when she tells me to put it out. Just like I've been through enough shit. Let me smoke this cigarette. Just really commandeer the rest of my life because I lost control in gaming. Couldn't get any sequels to my favorite series.
No.
Karak, are you a Sly Cooper guy at all? Maybe a little.
Just that third one a little bit.
Just a little bit. All right.
Like yeah.
All right. I'll allow it.
Not necessarily in love with it. By the way, while I was trying to fix my internet, I found something out that I thought was interesting. Apparently, you can stream Stadia to Xbox Edge, testing Discord and testing stuff. And so there's video of people streaming the fucking Xbox or using the Edge browser and streaming Stadia to it, which I was laughing going, probably got more customers now by just testing Edge browser than it does on a full new release. But dude, yeah, back to Ratchet and Clank and all those platforms. I think Dustin, Ratchet and Clank's like their number one. Sackboy is just a piece of shit game overall. Like it's not really worthy of even existing. I think it's fucking terrible. You got Astrobot, which I think is a big deal to them. In fact, I would say Astrobot seems to be a big enough deal they put it as a demo in the PS5.
Right.
Astrobot was good. Yeah.
Am I cutting out or am I now solid?
What happens is we can hear you now. Just you'll kind of talk like this. You'll sound like what's the character Gladys from Portal 2? Like that. Like you kind of have that.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, I for some reason GPU usage is shot through the roof on my PC. I'm apparently mining fucking Bitcoin or something. Yeah. I have no clue what's happening. I'm gonna reboot.
Character just sits there and hits a button. Yeah, I'm bored. I'm gonna mine some Bitcoin while we fucking sit here.
I'm gonna mine some Bitcoin while Matty's telling me about a GameStop employee that was giving him shit. I think I would like to see it. I would actually like to see Sly Cooper more than most other platforms, just because I thought the third looked like it was sort of right up my alley.
All right. Next question comes from Lactose the Intolerant 869. Hey guys, I have a question here, and whoever wants to field this, feel free. I know you guys are all pretty knowledgeable, so I came here for help. I was listening to, he said Marty's video. Correct that shit.
MrMattyPlays.
Correct that shit.
Wow.
You know how this started, by the way? It started, you'd think like the way the amount of people call me Marty as a joke, you'd think it would be like this big moment that happened. I literally posted a picture on Twitter when my channel was really small, and I fucking cracked an egg over a pan, and I missed. Like I cracked it too hard, and the egg spilled out of the other side. And so it's literally everywhere except the pan. So I took a picture, and I'm like, this is hilarious. And I literally posted a picture. I put a typo for my name, and it said Marty makes an egg. And so since then, people have ramped up over the course of, I think, 7 years, fucking call me Marty. Unreal. Anyway, was listening to Marty's
video. It's okay, Matthew. You'll be all right.
Thank you. Yeah, and that's a little better than Marty. Because I can't help but think of fucking SpongeBob, where he's Marty, I'm scared. It's like, fuck. That just plays in my head every time. He was watching my video on Mass Effect that I put up May 6th, and he was talking about the language they used when talking about frame rate, up to 60 or up to 120 FPS, and it got me thinking. Now, let me preface this by saying I'm not really knowledgeable on this, so please tell me if this isn't a thing. Is it possible to lock a game at something between 30 and 60 FPS? If the game can't get it locked on 60, wouldn't you rather they lock it up at 50 instead of 30 if they can pull it off? I just really don't like it when you're playing a game that's up to 60 FPS, then randomly you're in a shootout and boom, it starts flying over the place, hitting 60 1 second and then down to 40 next. Anyway, is it possible, and would you prefer that over the variable frame rate, even if it's just hypothetical?
Yes, you can, and yes, I would.
Yeah.
I'd love it. I would love. We saw that with Resident Evil, the 45 that confused everybody.
I was gonna say, FPS. Do you think they don't do that just because it's confusion? Like people know 30, people know 60 and 120,
and it doesn't match anything other than variable rate monitors. It wouldn't match it. But what happens is you would technically have the ability for that frame to be drawn. The input of any gamepad stuff, next frame would be updated. But if you play 50, of course it's smoother than 30. Like you can see that just by going in and capping your frame rate at any software you have. You can cap frame rate, and I've done that before capping Discord, where I'm like, 30 is pretty gnarly, but you cap it at 50 versus 60 because there were some issues with the way Discord captured video at one time. Yeah, you can do it. You wouldn't want to. I mean, overall, you would just 30 is synced to the 30 of a monitor, or the half refresh rate of a monitor, and 60 is again and again. But in a way, you're already doing this. If you have a 60 FPS monitor and you're running at 89 FPS, you're technically not seeing those 89. You can run your media and it can say you're getting 150 frames per second. You absolutely are not getting 150 frames per second. You're getting 60 or a shitty monitor 30. So technically already seen that, but it's just not done. It doesn't make a lot of sense.
Right. Yeah, and the only thing I'll add is that I would usually, when they say up to 60 FPS, you hope that their range of variability is very low, because
like
if you're running at 60 and 3 frames cut out here and there, whatever, you're not really going to notice it. Sure, if you have a keen eye, you probably can, but the problem is when people say up to 60 FPS and then you're averaging 45 with dips to 30, that's when it's bad. So it is a problem with the terminology, but like at the same time, they don't want to say this is locked 60, because as soon as it hits 59 frames per second, then people are like, well, this isn't locked. Mm-hmm. And then you've got like almost like a false advertising situation.
Which, Dustin, don't you find it weird that companies say locked 30 all the time and it drops below 30? That happens all the fucking time, by the way, where somebody will say 30 FPS locked at 30. Our game's locked at 30 because we couldn't hit 60. We're going 4K. This was a big thing for PS4 and Xbox. And then it would be at 25. And you'd be like,
right,
they have no issues then. Why are they, I don't know, man. I hate the terminology. And I agree. I wish just like lock it.
Yeah, right. The way this came up was because with Mass Effect, kind of like what Lactose said, I pointed out how we've really only seen trailers for this game, and as excited as I am for Mass Effect Legendary Edition, we don't know what this game looks like running in raw gameplay. And despite what Cyberpunk did, where it sort of dismantled the idea that you could see 40 minutes of running in raw gameplay and it could come out broken, still with this case, I said all of the verbiage in the performance description said up to 60, up to 30, and I said we don't know exactly what this game looks like when it's actually playing. We've just seen trailer snippets, and I said this could be their way of saying when the game comes out and it doesn't run that well in certain sections, because it's possible Halo Master Chief Collection exists. We've seen remaster collections come out broken in many ways. So, I said it could be this situation where they have this fallback of like, whoa, we did not say locked at 60. Now, I also mentioned up to 60 could mean it drops to 59 occasionally. That's your hope. But it was something I kind of warned the audience on, because I'm very excited for this game, but it's based off of my knowledge of Mass Effect and the changes they're making, and we've seen a lot of those changes, but we're not seeing the actual game running. So that's what I'm very curious about. King Calig's up next. Salutations, gentlemen. With the arrival of Mass Effect Legendary Edition, I was wondering, who are your favorite 3 non-romance companions, and who is your preferred romance companion in the totality of Mass Effect? If you don't say Tali, I'm upset. If I could say that. I'm unsubbing. Fuck. It doesn't have any impact now. Sorry. And secondly, less serious inquiry, what improvements from the original Mass Effect trilogy would you guys like to see in Mass Effect 4, whether it's gameplay-wise or narrative-wise, perhaps even the HUD and the other quality of life improvements? Finally, I bid you all the merriest, blessed, jolliest Saturday, with the coruscating celestial stars glimmering with pure sparkle of a new H.A.M Radio podcast. That's very, very well written.
Should we answer all of these? This is like a lot.
Yeah, we can break this down real quick. Three favorite companions.
Let's pick one.
Let's pick one. Okay. All right, let's pick one.
We're like 3 companions. Then who's your favorite? Then this. It's like, man. And then times by 3 people. Garrus. Garrus all day. He's your boy.
Yeah. I'm a Garrus guy as well. I know it's a very common pick.
I think that is a very common pick. Yeah. I think it's the number
he's so
one
good.
pick, right?
But I like his voice. It's just I think who vibes with me the most is like Jack. I think Jack's fucking awesome. That would probably be my that'd probably be my outlying pick. But I just, I remember Garrus, like when you find a Mass Effect 2, you're like,
you guys are saying we're picking one from all the games. It's like one overarching, right? So
yeah, he just said his question was 3 favorite non-romance companions. My favorite romance is Tali.
That talks with fucking, he's the assassin.
Why do I always forget his name?
I love that fucking dude. Thane?
Thane, yes.
Is it Thane? Dude, I'm a Ashley fan. I admit I absolutely love Ashley. I like her voice, I think. The voice actress's voice is older as fuck. But Thane was awesome, man. And some stuff that happens in 3. Well, it's not it might be a spoiler. So, because people might jump into this brand new. But I love Thane a fucking lot.
All right, and let's see here. Any improvements from the original trilogy that you'd like to see in 4? I guess for me, it would be more like a continuation of what they're doing with the trilogy because they tried to change things into a more open, dynamic manner with Andromeda, and I don't think it worked out well. And I think it showed how when you leave that Milky Way connection and those characters that have been established, it really hurt the game for a number of reasons we can get into. But simply put, yeah, I think it's just continuing what was established there and evolving the gameplay more, which Andromeda did successfully. I thought it was really fun to play. But that was really it.
Yeah, I think I agree with that, Matty. Overall.
Such a bad person.
Wait, what?
Just a bad person. Just saying, that's a bad take. You're a bad person.
Oh, shit. Let's hear it. I'm ready to fight. I got my fists up.
It's all right. I want to hear Dustin defend Andromeda and say it's good. Go for it.
I never played Andromeda. Like, that game came out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that game came out at a time where I wasn't poor, but I was like, I had the game, I pre-ordered it, it came in the mail, and I knew the problems, and I thought, this is getting returned, and I'm buying something else.
Oh, gotcha.
So, and then I just was like, I don't know. Like, I know some people say it has its merits, but I don't know. I don't feel compelled to play it. So my thing is also that I was never compelled by Andromeda because the thing I like most about Mass Effect is that, like, the galaxy, the different races, their system of government, how they all came together at the Citadel. And I want more of that.
Yeah.
I don't know. The Star Trek thing of going and discovering new stuff is cool, but Mass Effect's world is what's so interesting to me, the established world. Yeah. So I want more
building off of what you know, right? Like that's a really big strength of it. Yeah, it's been so long that, like, for me, a lot of this stuff outside of some of the major beats is kind of a vague memory. So it's going to be in a lot of ways a new experience for me, especially in the DLC category. Those were things I came to, I played, and like a lot of them I don't really recall strongly. So it's like I'm just kind of in for, even as a longtime fan, a pretty new experience. Because once Andromeda came out, you're like, okay, they're taking a new direction. Your mind starts to kind of like filter out pretty much what was happening in the original trilogy because it mattered less. And then they put it on ice and you're thinking, all right, well, I guess this series is done for a while. And your brain you play other stuff, you filter things out, and now it's all coming back. So yeah, it's going to be a fun experience regardless. All right, we got 3 questions left, gents. Let's go for it. My fat cock is up next. In Matty's recent Sonic 06 video, by the way, if you're listening to this, please check it out. I thought it was really funny. A lot of people liked it. He commented that a proper remake of this game could turn this train wreck into perhaps a, quote, okay, end quote, game. Is there a shit tier game out there that you believe could be salvaged with a proper remake? Have the best weekend possible. This would obviously be my pick because I like this game growing up. When you play it, you can't. I refuse to believe that anyone. I don't like Sonic at all. By the way, I like Sonic Generations. That's it. Otherwise, Sonic has infinitely sucked in my opinion. But when you fire up 06, there is this feeling of like this could have been fucking awesome because you can play as pretty much everybody. It's kind of got a Sonic Adventure feel to it. There's a hub area. It had the right mindset, but it obviously had very flawed execution. So if I thought, hey, what if they did remake this game? I think it could be somewhat redeemable in a couple of ways. Get rid of the fucking weird romance arc between Sonic and Elise as well. That borderline fucking illegal shit happening in our video game. Let's get rid of that. Where Sonic's like, your smile. That's all that I need. It's like, Jesus Christ.
I play this game has skyrocketed.
What's up?
I probably I said my desire to play the game has skyrocketed with you describing it so creepily.
Oh, it's that's the thing. It is a situation where like I was hating it, but it was almost like I could have sat down and kept playing. I really could have at the end of the day. And once again, it's because growing up, I actually did like the game. I'll fully admit that. Like, it's amazing how much stuff as a little kid, I was in 6th grade when I played it, how much you don't realize when something's a broken piece of shit. Like, you just don't know. I don't know how else to put it. Like, and so that's why I emphasize with certain games when I didn't like them as a kid, that's really saying something because there's just stuff on a technical level that goes right over your head. A game borderline not functioning or loading forever happened to be one of them. Anyway, I'm going on way too long. For you, gents, is there a broken game that you look at and you go like, man, if we remade this, that'd be pretty neat, or it has a chance to be decent?
Yeah, Cyberpunk.
Wow. Yeah, that's fair.
No, like, I don't know. I think we talked about this. We talked about this months ago. I was enjoying Cyberpunk. I dropped off it because I was like, I know I'm playing the worst version of this game, and I would rather wait. So I don't know. I'm being semi facetious right now. It doesn't need a proper remake. It just needs to be make.
Yeah, technically fortified.
Right. So it just sucks because I think that the world of Cyberpunk is so cool and it's doing a lot of cool stuff. But
it does, yeah. I think it's still like when I say a great game, I mean when I played it, I thought the gameplay was fun. I thought the storytelling, the side quests, I thought it was all really strong. I liked it a lot. It's just a shame what's happened to it on a technical level. Karak, what about you?
Right.
See my video connection just fucking going up and down. So I don't know if I'm smooth at all right now.
You've actually been a little smoother as of late. So
okay. Agree with Cyberpunk. I actually think that there's a bunch of stuff I would have loved to have seen in Cyberpunk. There were a bunch of issues with it, and whatever we got is just not in the same category as like Witcher 3, which I know a lot of people wanted a Cyberpunk Witcher. So,
all right, 2 more. Felix Check up next.
Felix,
yeah,
he's one of my biggest supporters on Twitch. Shout out.
Yeah. Fuck yeah. So am I. I gifted 5 subs last time I was there. Shout me out next time.
That's right.
Hell
Matty coming in.
Hell yeah. I was like, Dustin supported the GPU fund. I had to counter support Dustin.
That's right. Thank you.
Of course. Good evening, gents. I'm watching footage from Diablo 2 Resurrected, and even though I'm excited about it, I'm jealous because some games from the same genre are dead, and they would benefit from a remaster like that. I would love if a studio brought back Divine Divinity and its sequel, or even the original Legacy of Kain to the 21st century. Do you have any 90s RPGs of that style that you would like to see get a retouch like that? This happens to be a great week for this question because I would have picked Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance and the Champion series. One of them is now getting touched up, but I would like to see the rest with a better trophy list. That's for damn sure. So my answer is kind of already out there. It's been out there, so I don't want to suck up too much more time. What about you two? Any games from this genre? Divine Divinity, yeah. You lit up a little bit.
That game is fantastic. It is. I think it's better than the Divinity games, the ones that have come out. Like or that game. That would be mine.
I've never been big on CRPGs, so I don't have really anything to chime in. So I'm just going to say whatever I want, like a politician, just divert it and say, I want a remake of Star Wars Jedi Knight 2, because that's a really good game. So remake that. That's my...
That just politician-like deflection of like, I'm going to answer this question that you absolutely did not ask me. just because I can. All right. Last question, Sam's side quest. Hey, guys, just wondering if y'all seen the new Demon Slayer movie, and if so, what are your thoughts?
Wow, fucking weeb. Get out of here.
Go,
I've
Sam,
not seen it.
Go. Really? Have you seen Demon Slayer at all? Like,
I watched the first episode. I thought it was fine. But everyone says that you got to, I mean, to be fair, I usually got to give something a few more episodes, but it didn't like really hook me. So I was like, man, maybe I'll try something else. I want to go back though. People are saying this movie, here's what's intriguing to me. The movie rated R. And I know you saw it, Matty. My wife, Holly, saw it as well. And she really liked it.
Dude, it's extremely good. I'm shocked that Dustin has not seen this. I thought for sure, man. Yeah, no, this is I think this is borderline must watch on an animation standpoint. I think story-wise, is it doing anything super inventive or revolutionary? Probably not. But animation, characters, the development that we see specifically in the movie with certain characters is really strong, and it kind of, I think, has that Attack on Titan potential to like, wow, this can be like a all-timer. Like this thing can be, I guess Karak
died.
Enough's enough. But anyway, I think it has the potential to just be an all-timer, like a like really, really, really famous show for years to come if it keeps up at this rate. I think you'd like it a lot, and I don't think it's a slow warm-up at all. I think once you get, I want to say 5 episodes total in, there's already stuff that happens within the first 3 that I think is enough of a hook. But I think once you're like 5 to 8 episodes in is when, you'll know if you're going to like it or not, And so I would say give it till then, because there are some arcs in this show that I thought were really good. And they do, one thing this show does extremely well is power scaling. I think the way that they handle, you think the main character is powerful, and then you see someone above him do something, and you're like, oh man, he's not even close. They do a really good job at balancing that, I think, like better than most shows. So I would say, Dustin, please for your boy Matty and your wife, more importantly, give it a look.
Yeah, I'm too busy watching, or I was too busy watching Tamako Market, which is a great slice of life anime about a girl whose family owns a mochi shop. And there's a bird, a talking bird. And then there's an OVA after you watch the series. The romance was very good. Okay, we don't need to be slaying demons. We don't need to be attacking titans. We certainly don't need to be searching for Dragon Balls or learning how to be a superhero. Okay, all we need is to be running a mochi shop and hanging out with a talking bird. Okay, enough of your hyper masculine killing. Well,
that's fair though. I get wrapped up in that pretty quickly. No, I do get wrapped up in that though. I know you're not talking directly to me, but like I definitely get pulled into like the fight kind of like anime tropes. Like you need good animation in battle. Like I remember I tried watching Run with the Wind. That was a slice of life anime about like people who are in a running club, because I like to jog. So I'm like, hey, I can relate to this. It's pretty good. I got like 9 episodes in, but I don't know if it's just my brain. I'm like, I need stimulation right now. Like I need something to spark here. And watching the jogging just wasn't really doing that for me. Just like the hair when jogging was good, but that was really about it.
For the audience that may not know my anime taste as well, that was totally a joke. Like I'm the dude that was there refreshing when the new Attack on Titan episodes were coming out, which final season part 2, Maddie, we never talked about that, which is probably, this is not the time or place. I'm disappointed, but I'm also excited because I thought that they were going to try to wrap it up too quick. So
yes,
I'm glad they're doing it right.
Smart choice, but I think they marketed it poorly. I should say that I totally expected this to be it. I was like, okay, last season, I didn't sign up for this part 1, part 2, maybe a movie type bullshit. That starts to feel a little stretched out, but I'm happy they're doing it right in the terms of following the manga, That's good. But because I think that would be bad if they ended it poorly. But
Matt,
that's
major spoilers.
What do you think?
For people that haven't watched it?
You think? Okay, let me. I'll cut that out. Let me write down a timestamp here. Hold on.
I'm just saying.
For those who are tuning back
I would have been upset.
For those who are, I'll cut that out. I will just say this much then. Hold on, let me make sure I get a very accurate timestamp so I know exactly where I'm removing this. Okay. Usually I'm pretty aware of that stuff too. I'll just say this though. There is the first half of season 4, part 1, that is strong. And I cannot get any more descriptive on why I think after that, I don't think is really good. It's very spotty. And there's like a significant event that I think it got really hyped up over the community when it was I didn't care about this person regardless. So yeah, you can fill in those blanks if you watch the show, but I think that's vague enough. Yeah, enough of my shitty anime opinions. Enough of them. I'm sure people heard enough. All right, Dustin. I think I don't know if Karak messaged us. I think he's done for the evening now.
No, I think he messaged. He said that it's just Discord completely died for him.
Okay,
so
that's fine. We were in the last 2 minutes anyway, so I'll say goodbye for Karak. Thank you guys so much. Now. On to Dustin for his outro if he's got anything else to say, and we'll wrap this one up.
No, I don't. I don't have very much else to say other than I'll be reading your comments. Upset that I defended our friend Bob, my best friend Bobby. My down the street, my best friend Bobby. Hope everyone has a great weekend. Enjoy video games. I'm excited to play Resident Evil. It's gonna be good. Though I don't know. See, Maddie, now, this is the time. I'm starving right now. Very much. I even ate a pretty significant snack in a peanut butter sandwich before we started recording. It's as if I ate nothing at all, really.
I'm sorry. I feel bad. Yeah, 3 hours, 6 minutes we're at right now. Let me trim down a little bit for the final product. But I ate a full sub before this, so I'm pretty full. I think that's why I was pretty much vibing the whole show, because I was filled up, man. Like, I had this prosciutto mozzarella red pepper sub, and I had half while I was watching an episode of The Invincible, and then I was like, you know what?
Fuck it.
I'm gonna fucking have the other half right now. I was like, I have a podcast coming up, and that might be the move, man. That was a quality sub, tasted good, because not to hold you up too much here.
No,
there's always overpowering prosciutto where it's like very salty and it just overrides the taste of everything in your sub. That was not the case here. This was good. It was imported straight from Italy alongside the mozzarella. Yeah, I went to a nice. It was right next to the Walgreens. I got my jab, and so it was like, boom, get a nice sub for myself.
That's right, dude. So, good sub hits the spot. Just. For the audience out there, don't be fucking going to Jimmy John's, okay? None of that. You're not in elementary school, okay? Don't eat a cold sandwich for dinner.
Yeah.
Okay? That's ridiculous. And especially don't go to Subway either. That's even worse.
Yeah, I went to Subway for the first time in a while, about a week and a half ago, just because like I was craving it, and then I went and had it. It was something with their bread that I thought like I really liked, and I tried it again, and I didn't really like it that much. Wasn't that good? So I think I'm done with Subway. I'm rediscovering things again, like things I liked in high school. I'm like, let me try that again now. Sushi is still clicking. Subway does not click anymore. Fast food does not click anymore for the most part. So,
what about Burger King, Maddie? You're an art. I didn't get to listen to that part yet of Duke yet. I really wanted to.
There were so many people writing in saying that when we read that section off, when me and Karak were just tearing it apart, that people were in a Burger King drive-thru or like listening while near a Burger King or within a Burger King. Like, it was actually pretty phenomenal to see.
Dude, the problem with Burger King, we're just extending out the show another 3 hours. Let's go. Yeah, right. Problem with Burger King is that it's very dependent on the location, like to a huge fault. I've been to a Burger King's on like a road trip that I was like, wow, this is really good. And then other times, like specifically there's now 2 in my hometown. There used to be just 1. One in my hometown, no go. Like, don't even fuck around with that, because it's never ever
guaranteed
good.
Bad time.
Yeah, which you're only as good as your consistency is everything. Say what you will about McDonald's, but you know what you're getting every time, whether you like that or not. There's some merit to that.
Dude, they're consistently toasty nuggets and fries. It's a selling point, 100%. When I was in high school, that was the juice, man. Like, that got me in the door every time. I was like, I want not just fast food. I want hot fast food. When they gave it to me cold or warm, even like not hot and toasty, I was an upset customer because I knew it was just sitting there and it didn't taste quite right. So you're right. Consistency is key.
True.
All right. So I managed to get through this whole show without developing a fever or anything. So we'll see how I live throughout the rest of this weekend, but I'm glad I got through this. So
you did it.
Yeah, I did. I was a little nervous. Thank you to all of you who got through episode 302. If you got this deep, we planned out a hashtag in the middle of this show. What was it, man? This is the thing. Our show goes on for so long. That was at the 1 hour mark.
Long, floppy. It was like very clearly about penises.
Yeah. Long and floppy. We'll just do that. Long and floppy. People will think we're talking about like a dog's ears or something like that. And I'm like, oh, cute.
Though my recommendation, if you type hashtag long and floppy and tag us, that's fine. That's what we're asking you to do. Don't click and see other people that have used that hashtag. Like, don't do that. That's just something you probably don't want to do.
I can imagine that's not a pretty
unless you're into long and floppy. There's no problem with that. There's no problem with that. But I'm just saying, for me, I don't need to click that hashtag.
I don't need to see that. Yeah, I don't need to. I don't care who it is. I don't need to see it. All right. Thank you all so much for tuning into episode 302, and we will catch all of you next week. We'll probably talk a little bit more about Resident Evil Village. We'll talk about Mass Effect. We'll have a lot to talk about. So we hope to see you all then. And until then, be well and take good care of yourselves.
See you later.